Hey everybody out there in Twitch, Carlos A. Slicing. Welcome again back to the first Betrayal campaign. I'm here as today is a very special episode. I'm doing I guess you wouldn't call it a solo, you'd call it a duet with my two aces over here, my ace boons, Jeremy Brazil over there on the left, and Patrick Hope over there on the right. These are probably my two dearest friends in the world. I'm super happy to have them here as players. So
it's technically called a brosome.
It would be called a brosome, I suppose, yeah. We could bro down. But before I go any further, we were having a pretty cool conversation right now, and I kind of want to keep going with it for just a moment or two. For those of you guys out there who watch us on First Betrayal, there's a heavy first edition element in there, obviously. But the first edition of Dungeons & Dragons was not really the only game that they were releasing back then. I mean, at the same time, when First Edition was conversant, you had everything out there from the Marvel Superheroes game, both basic and advanced, all the way out to the All My Children board game. I mean, TSR was nothing if not diverse as far as a company went. I would say that probably of all those games, my two favorites would be, I have a big spot in my heart for Star Frontiers, but the truth is, my two favorites would be the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game, because I was a huge comic book fan as a kid, and the other one is Top Secret, which is probably the one I played most as a kid of all of them, until as I became an adult, I played more of Marvel. But the truth is that Top Secret has a really a place in my heart for that, to the point where I actually ran a Top Secret adventure at GaryCon a couple of years ago that the Castle Entertainment made on the down low. Jeremy, I know that you're a huge TS fan too. Talk a little bit about your love of that game and the genre, really.
So, when I was a kid, my stepfather was just a James Bond freak, right? And I think that had a big influence on it. I think that kind of stuff. I think it's, I like SI personally, but I think it's gritty, and it has some of those qualities that, and I think the TSR's Marvel Superheroes is okay. It's okay, but
for those of you who don't know, Jeremy is probably, I played that game for probably about over 30 years now, and Jeremy's the maestro as far as character builds and rule conversance in Marvel Superheroes. He's the man.
Anyway, settle down. When it comes to Top Secret, what I love about that whole scenario, whether you get into things like the Freelancers or Agent 13, whatever, it's gritty. It's got just a little bit of edge to it that we can't always express well in the modules for Marvel. Whereas with Top Secret, you can do some nasty stuff. I mean, it's got the real world grit to it, and then maybe even a step more.
Yeah, once you incorporate the super or the magic element into a game, the suspension of disbelief goes into there, and the grittiness, even if you're running a game like a Watchmen-style game or something like that, the grittiness quotient kind of is watered down a bit by the presence of powers. So I think you're right about that. As you mentioned, I'm a first D guy with Top Secret. You're an SI guy. But the truth is, there's one part of SI that I think people overlook that lends itself very well to the gritty thing, and that is the Commando rule set. The first edition rules of Top Secret did not. It was all straight espionage. Okay, in fact, the rule set actually went out of its way to tell you, don't try and play this game like it's Rambo. Okay, play this game, more like James Bond.
It's not a combat game.
But TSSI actually had rules to support stuff like a game where you're playing like Commando or Rambo or something like that.
It was the introduction of the idea that you would have classes and character classes. That's kind of, I'm sure that some of that was inspired by D&D at the time, where you had hey, let's kind of lay this idea of classes over in a contemporary setting and see what we get. And then you ended up with guys who could play as an infiltrator or whatever. What I think was super cool about that is that it allowed you to kind of, because when you're role playing, there's a little bit of wish fulfillment, but there's also a little bit of identity. There's like a first identity crisis, right? Sure. So you get to figure out whether, at first you might be trying to figure out whether your character is going to be an infiltrator, and then you start figuring out that you might have a play style that is, specific to a particular class for first edition.
Sure, absolutely.
Parlance, yeah.
Now, Patrick, did you get a chance to play any? I know your experience is very heavy in stuff like in D&D and in. For those of you who watched my interview with Patrick a couple months ago with D&D and things like Marvel and even TMNT to some degree, but what's your experience with Top Secret? Did you play it at all?
I have not played one game of Top Secret.
Who's your Bond? Who's James Bond to you? What actor personifies Bond to you?
Pierce Brosnan was the Bond when I was growing up, but I think... Yeah, I don't know, that's hard. I would say either Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery, but I watched a lot of the Roger Moore ones too. So
okay. What about you?
It's hard to gauge.
What about you, Jeremy?
I was hoping that you wouldn't put the light on me with that question. I have a hard time with the character in general. When they change actors, I don't change the character in my head. You know what I mean? So even though there's been different portrayals of the same character, it is still James. So
yeah, I agree with you.
It's the same character. It's not like when it's not like a Doctor Who thing where somebody else portrays Doctor Who, but he's a completely different personality.
Right. They baked that into the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, it's not the same deal. So for me, Bond is the character, not the actor, that kind of a thing. So, but I really did enjoy the Roger Moore stuff, I guess, if I had to be pinned down. Now, I hear that Daniel Craig has done a good job. I haven't seen all of it. I think I saw the last one maybe. But back to the Top Secret thing for just a second, because I want to say this. It's interesting that you get exposed to, so I got exposed to Top Secret first, and then TMNT, and then Marvel, and then D&D, and then, right? I can say that, for anybody that's played in my games, in my home campaigns, Top Secret informs the way that I run campaigns in other systems.
Yes.
Always. And largely because the notion of special intelligence, the notion of the bureaus, all of that plays into the execution, because I run a gritty game, even if it does get... Okay, this is what I mean by that. If I was running a game, let's say that we're running Casino Royale as a module. Okay? We're running a Top Secret Casino Royale game. If you went through there and you changed some of the characters to have, mutant powers or mutations, or some of them are spellcasters or whatever, I think that's kind of what I've done with my world building, is I've stayed on the tip of, I want to run a gritty game. I want to run something that's contemporary, but that can reach into these, the paranormal without the loss of suspension of disbelief, I guess.
I think I think anybody who watched Skeleton Key would be able to recognize that in the design of your module and your encounters, that you have a way of, I think, that your Top Secret really kind of has informed your D&D. It wasn't a direct... It wasn't a slugfest. It was an infiltration mission in which you had to really do some thinking in order to get your way through. So I thought that was really cool the way that played out. So it definitely shows through what you're saying.
Yeah,
for me, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, I played D&D first, and so it has informed my Top Secret to some degree.
For sure.
And it has informed, but more than that, I probably would play a little bit more of a free and loose game had I not actually been in Intel in real life when I was, in the military, which that was the big formative experience. But going back to what you said, who in the hell would actually run a game in a casino in Top Secret? That is so played out.
Some kind of clown. I mean, you could probably find the module if you were, wanted to. Mine's signed. I got mine signed.
Oh, really? Wow. Actually, I hate to say this, but that's one of the best covers I've ever did. I did that cover myself. And
I will say this, that the module got written and played and in my hand is kind of a miracle. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
But
That's
anybody
pretty
paying
good.
attention, that was clever.
That was pretty good. All right, guys. Well, Top Secret being, I just want to finish that conversation out because I was actually having a lot of fun with that. And for what it's worth, my Top Secret, my Bond is actually Connery because of my age. However, much like Jeremy, my Bond, I have a weird relationship with that character because my dad had all the novels, the Ian Fleming novels, and when I was a kid, I read voraciously. I would read anything that I could get my hands on. So I read all those Ian Fleming novels, and Bond is portrayed very differently in those novels. So I had a lot of cognitive dissonance to begin with Bond. Like, would he really do that? Because Bond in those novels was a hardcore. He was assassination almost, and he would. You would get into Roger Moore stuff or Sean Connery when he's not really that hardcore, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't know. I think he would have finished that guy.
Yeah, totally.
So, in any case, Eclectic Hobbies, good to see you. Good to see you, Greta Wolf's Lair. It's about time for us to get going with our game now for the evening. When I left my Intrepid Heroes, this is, you'll notice the background that we have tonight on Twitch. The background that we have on Twitch right now is actually a location in the real world called the Necromantion, which is the only surviving temple to Hades. It was uncovered in Greece underneath a temple of Athena many years ago. It's a pretty cool location, and I wanted to celebrate that for our game tonight, and as kind of a nod to the players that we have over here and what's going on in the game. When we last left our Intrepid Heroes, I dealt with the fallout of what happened after the fight with the Gnolls. In which Hagaranka, who's being played by Patrick tonight, he defeated the undead Chimera. Well, after that, he was asked by the queen of his tribe, who's otherwise known as Verthaz Ravencaller, the Carrion Queen. Verthaz told him that, hey, listen, I need you to talk to Rainmar and see if he can be trusted to deal with our enemies. Because Rainmar has said publicly that him and his folk are now part of the tribe, and they are part of his tribe. Verthas is not used to such. She's a Gnoll, okay? She's not used to this kind of social interaction. So she's got a little bit of disbelief to cross there, that a human could actually do that. But in the meantime, Rainmar was going ahead and he was continuing to glorify the temple by doing paintings around its walls. Some of them were glorifying some of the gods of Orth, Zanye in particular, while others were glorifying some of the gods of the Gnolls. In the meantime, he was contacted because Rainmar is the patron, he is a proxy, so to speak, of Hades, the god of the underworld in Greece, the Hellenic god of the underworld. He was contacted by him and was told that soon he could expect to be visited by his son, who he would count as an ally. Hagaranka went into the underworld with him at that point in time, has really not said too much about it at this point in time. Who knows how the Gnoll reacted to that? He was very quiet the entire time for that. It could be that his thoughts about what the human underworld or perhaps he was just shocked by being in an extraplanar situation. Who can say? His thoughts were pretty much his own on that one. But we're going to pick up play right now with Agrias, because at the end of the game yesterday, Agrias came from the plane of shadow and appeared in the Tenerum, which is at the bottom of the map on our screen right over on Twitch, which is the temple, fallen temple of Hades and Zeus and Persephone, which they're all dwelling in. Agrias appeared with his teacher, who is also his pupil, through a weird topology of time, Alta Teresa. And everyone is getting to reacquainted with one another as we speak when we last left off. And I will go ahead and I will continue there from that point right now. Jeremy, as I said, Agrias just appeared a few moments ago. Raymar, how would you like to, is there anything you'd like to settle or do, or what's your next move?
Yeah, so when obviously Agrias returning, I mean, I've been preparing since he disappeared. I've been preparing for this.
Right. In a sense, you laid the groundwork for his ability to appear back here.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing has been about Agrias coming home. So now we got Agrias there. So give Agrias a big hug. Welcome back. I gave him his sword as kind of a symbol of, hey, enough is enough. Don't fucking disappear.
Right. Alta Teresa is standing back, allowing you guys to have your moment, and she seems very pleased by the way that your interaction is going. She's just kind of smiling.
I give, and that was what I was going to say next, is that, I'm happy to see Alta Teresa too. I never thought that she would set foot in the temple. That's actually, a surprise. So I go up, I give her a hug, a little kiss on the cheek. And
when you do that, it's you can tell right away that she's not used to that kind of contact between that kind of interaction, but she warms to it pretty quickly, and she returns it, if gently. Well, yeah, Alta Teresa is almost weightless in your arms, and when you gave Agrias a hug, you notice right away that he's different. You notice his skin is paler. You notice that he is probably put on maybe 50% more muscle than he had before, and yet at the same time he's almost insubstantially light, even more than a normal elf. It is it seems a contradiction in possibility how light he is.
Well, Agrias, welcome back. I'm sure you've got some crazy stories to tell me about where you disappeared to.
I do, and it looks like you got some. I need to get updated on what's going on with the temple.
Well, why don't we start by me showing you your room?
As you're saying all this stuff, Raymar and Agrias, Nora comes walking in. Agrias, you haven't met this guy yet. He's an orc, right? He's probably about maybe 5'10" tall, but yet he's pretty stout. He's maybe about 220. He's wearing leather scale armor, black leather scale armor. He's got that short, orcish, pig-nosed snout with his heavy tusks. His hair is shaved all the way around the side of his head into kind of a top knot that he pulls straight down behind his head. It's all stringy, like a dark, like an orc's is, or mine. And the thing that you do notice about him, though, that is very strange, is that at his side he's carrying a flail. The handle is short, but the chain is really thin of black metal, and the spiked ball at the end is this black iron pitted ball with these wicked spikes on it. And he's also wearing a holy symbol that you have never seen before. It is the head of a black ram that he's wearing around his neck.
Okay.
You haven't seen that one before. He walks in, he sees you, and he sees Alta Teresa. And you're really not sure what to expect out of them. You've seen orcs before, you've met them before. I mean, they're obviously inimical to elves at some level. But when he sees you, he kind of gets this little bit of almost like a grin on his face and says over to Raymar, new blood boss?
So Agrias would have seen Noric briefly before he disappeared.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
you did meet Noric very briefly. I'm sorry. Yeah, you probably just didn't recognize him. It's
I
more
was busy
appropriate.
ghosting his tribe.
Yeah, not only that, but I forgot about that part. Maybe
He's a
you were there
completely
for that.
different person.
But yeah, he's like almost a completely different person now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he speaks Greek and shit. The guy's a G.
I guess it makes sense that he wouldn't recognize me either because I look different.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah,
look.
so-
Yeah, he looks at you and sees you and just kind of is like new blood.
So I look at Noric and I say, look closer. You've met before.
He looks at him kind of. He looks at you. He goes, "Oh, Agrias." He goes, "I thought you were dead."
I am still here, Nork the Wildlight.
He looks over at Rainmar. He goes, "Well, I guess it kind of works, huh?"
Yeah. So
What works?
I
One of
planted
the
these flowers.
one of the gnolls in the room, because there's 3 gnolls in the room. One of them kind of snarls at me. He goes, "What works?" He goes, "The prayers."
Well,
He kind of puts up his holy symbol. He goes, "I pray to the Lord of the Underworld, my patron deity." He goes, "I prayed for his return because Hades has domain over Shadow. Therefore, I thought he'd be able to return."
And I look at Raymar and I go, okay, what's with the Knolls?
well, see, when you got thrown into Shadow, when you did your little magic trick, we were a little short on muscle after that. So I went shopping, and this is what I ended up with, is this freaking brilliant orc, by the way, smarter than all of us put together somehow.
Nora kind of just nods, gives a little bit of a bow.
And he's reading the Book of Ares, and he's, communing with the fucking whatever. But anyway, I planted the prismatic chrysanthemums all over the temple, and I arranged the torchlight in such a way that it would cast harsh shadows, just in case. Just in case you weren't dead, which I was betting you weren't. Let me show you to your quarters. I set you up a room down here.
Please, that'd be great.
Agrias, as you guys are talking, there's another gnoll that walks into the room. This gnoll is probably about 7'2", and it's obviously a female. Got a flail at her hip. Kind of a furry cloak over her shoulders, dark furry cloak. All this patchwork armor, ratty looking, just kind of a feral looking, evil, sinister looking gnoll walks in. And she says, "I heard what you said." Looks over at Rainmar, looks over at you, Agrias, and says, "You'll be happy to know that one of us gnolls slew the creature that slew you. Revenge has been made."
And I look at her without missing a beat. I go, I never fought the Chimera.
She kind of slits her eyes, like she's kind of confused. Nork looks at her and goes, "You really didn't." "No, he was in the room and his magic took him away. He never."
All right, I don't know how to say this, but
He
I don't
never
give a
died.
shit. I just walk off. I just start going into his room.
So
Because
there two are arguing about it as you walk by, and Alta Teresa just kind of is walking with the two of you.
Yeah, she's dope. I like all
Yeah, Alta Teresa kind of looks over at Agrias. She looks around at the just kind of being quiet as she's kind of following you around. You can tell that she's just kind of taking in the sights of this place. Kind of just more or less judging the shadows, just judging the darkness and the light, the way that it plays back and forth. You can tell she's almost like casing the place for teleport locations and things like that, in case the place was ever attacked. You've seen this, Agrias, yourself. You taught her this, how to do this, because
by the way,
she taught you how to do this.
Right. How long was I gone in a rough estimate?
Probably about 2 months.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How long were you gone subjectively for yourself? Do you mean?
Yeah.
Probably about 22 years.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
But
Well,
you're an
there's
elf, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a dilation and compression of time there anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
time working in a weird way that it does. You were able to teach her so many mysteries, and she you in turn, because mostly time is dilated so freakily there in the
Okay.
plane of shadow. So anyway, you guys are walking, and where are you going to take him, Rainmar?
As we're walking, I asked Raymar, did you ever get a chance to put any of these flowers in the fortress?
What fortress?
Procan's Eye.
No, I've been here ever since you left. I wasn't going to leave in case you came back.
You hear footsteps coming down the hallway, kind of at a quick pace towards you.
Can I roll an intuition feat to see if it's Calissa and Trotty?
You don't need to. It's Calissa and Trotty.
Okay, without turning around, I say, "What do you want, Calissa?"
Calissa says, "I heard Agrias is back." She comes running down the hallway and sees you, Agrias. Calissa is pretty much the same as you saw her last. She's got her glasses, her red hair, which is done in many pleats behind her, and kind of in a ponytail. Still that mousy kind of librarian-esque look that she has to her. She says, "Agrias, it's good to see you." She comes running over and gives you a big hug.
I hug her back, say, "It's good to be back."
I'd heard bad things. I'm pleased to see that everything I heard was incorrect.
Yes, everything is as good as it can be at this point.
She looks over.
Although you will notice.
Go ahead.
You will notice that most people go on vacation and come back with a tan, and he's come back paler than ever.
Rainmar, it's impolite to ask such questions. I'm just pleased to see my friend back. She looks over at Lady Altatrissa. It's a pleasure. And you, Calissa and Trotty. I'm a sage. I work for Procaz. I am a good friend of Rainmar and Agrias. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to meet you then. Where are you going to be staying, Agrias?
His quarters are in the same hallway with Asperion.
Oh, okay, good. I'll leave you to it then. We'll catch up. I've got so many questions to ask you.
Okay.
I don't know a thing about the Plane of Shadow. I need to know everything about the Plane of Shadow.
Okay, well, I tell you what. While we're walking over to his quarters, why don't you tell me what you discovered about the helmet that I let you?
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. The helmet. Well, I did some research on the helmet, and I found out that it is an incredibly vexing object. As you have come to realize, that helm is not from our world. So the lore that is extant on it is sparse, to say the least. However, I did do a bit of research, and what I have discovered is that helmet is not unknown to people. No one knows where it comes from, but there's legends about it. At the same time, it's rumored to be there's a lot of people that are looking for it, apparently. I'm not sure exactly how the knowledge of the helmet's existence came to be, but for some reason, people seem to know about it. People seem to be interested in it.
Listen, Trotty, I need to request a favor from you. Do you remember when you sent out the maps of this area and made the temple disappear?
Of course I do.
I want you to start a rumor that the helmet of Apollo has been discovered and has been taken across the Solnor to Fireland.
Yes, to roll.
She rolls, and she says, "Well, I think that's prudent, yes. I have to admit, falsifying knowledge is sort of inimical to what I do, but at the same token, I can see the wisdom in it for sure. I'll begin falsifying documents immediately."
Well, I wouldn't want you to do anything that messes with your alignment.
No. It's not that. It's more of an ethical thing. I'm a sage. Knowledge is something that's supposed to not be hoarded or it's supposed to be carried down through the generations. And it seems strange to me to begin such things. But by the same token, I suppose I've already gone down this track. I should follow it to its end.
Calissa, I want you to make it poetic, and I want you to realize that this is required in order for us to have more uninterrupted study.
I realize that. And that's why I'm doing it. But it's just a bridge to cross for me. That's all. I'll make sure that we do it immediately.
Knowledge is also power and must be protected.
Oh, of course it is. She smiles. She looks over at Raymar and she says, "I like having him back already."
There's one of us. All right. So
now, if I could just get to my room, that would be
I'm so
great.
sorry. I'd heard the rumors and I just wanted to see for myself. I'll leave you be.
We'll catch up later, I promise.
By the way, Grias, she has underneath her arm a bucket, and you're just starting to notice it. The bucket has all kinds of meat and what looks like charcoal in it. And she goes walking past the bunch of you down the hallway. Raymar, you know where she's going, but
yes, I do. Okay. So I show Grias to his room. He's in that same hallway. There were a bunch of empty rooms in Asperian's hall.
Yep.
I haven't seen the map in a while, but it doesn't matter. That hallway that kind of leads around to where
I know exactly where you're going. Grias,
where I just absolutely pumped that Minotaur.
Grias, as you're walking down the hallways, he's leading you to your room. You go past that main area, the colonnaded area in the where the main temple was. Then you go down the hallway, and it looks at first like you're going directly towards the Chimera's room, and you're thinking that he's screwing with you at first. But then you take a hard left down the hallway and you go past another set of rooms. Now, you didn't get a chance to see Asperion, so as you go past one of the rooms, there's a man that's practicing in one of the rooms with a spear. He's got a shield in his hand. He's got a Grecian helmet on. He looks like he's just doing military maneuvers, practicing by himself. And he looks at, he kind of stops, and as you walk by, he kind of looks at you both, and when he looks at Alta Teresa, he almost gives a little bit of a nod in her direction. Almost like one of those almost like game recognized game kind of moments. Like he realizes right away just by the way she carries herself how dangerous she is. She kind of looks back at him and nods. Two of you guys, the whole crew of you continue to go. Is there any of the particular rooms you want to give to him, Raynmar, or is it just a one that's available that looks nice?
Well, there was once I had the brothers of Zanye set up a specific room for him, but we can figure it out later when.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember that you did that.
Yeah, we can metagame it on the map later. So as long as there's a room set up for him, I would have definitely had a weapons rack and a pot with a chrysanthemum in it. Mm-hmm. We would have built a bed, provided blanket. We would have done a full get up on the room.
Of course. There is one question I do have for you, though, Raynmar. Would you have created a separate set of lodgings for Alta Teresa, or are they expected to stay in the same room?
I did not. I mean, I could say I did retroactively, but I did not set up lodging for Alta Teresa because I didn't
you didn't expect her. So you show up. You show up over there with Raynmar. Raynmar, you show up with Agrias at the room. Agrias, the room is if you'll pardon the pun, Spartan, but it is comfortable nonetheless. It looks like it's been established for you. The potted chrysanthemum is there, and as Alta Teresa suggested, it seems to be growing true within the pot, which seems a miracle. First of all, it's not getting sunlight. Second of all, it's really not getting as much water as a chrysanthemum needs, and yet it seems to be growing in full bloom and in full health. So it's very strange. Something magical is clearly afoot there. But that's another story.
Okay.
You're there within the room. Looks like you've got enough room to practice. It looks comfortable.
Sweet.
I will put up, because I had set up rooms for everybody, Ariane and Brixton and the whole game. I'll just set up Alta Trissa in one of those rooms that has, right next door to.
Are you going to tend to that yourself, or are you going to put one of your crew on that?
Well, the room's already set up. It's just a matter of putting.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean,
So you go ahead. You assign Alta Trissa in one of the rooms as well, and Alta Trissa tells you that she says, "Thank you very much for your kindness and your hospitality." She says, "I can tell that this is a holy place."
Well, Mistress of Shadow, allow me to tell you what I said to my friend Hades. Everything has a cost.
Indeed it does. She says, "And what price did you pay for this?" She looks around at the temple.
Time, mostly.
She nods. Not the most dear of prices to be paid, I suppose.
No.
Because with time, there's also a reward that comes with that. Undoubtedly, looking at you, I can see that you have absorbed this reward quite well.
My work is not complete. My study is not complete.
She nods. It never will be.
Well, after you've had a chance to rest and acclimate yourself to the temple, I would ask for your counsel.
Of course. She looks back at Agrias's room in that direction, because you two are alone at this point. Agrias is just settling into his room. Agrias is very important to me, and you have become a good friend to him. You have my counsel.
I appreciate it. I go back to Agrias's room.
Okay. Alta Trissa starts settling in her room. She's by herself now.
I go back to Agrias's room just to see how he's settling in, and if he has time for me to show him something in the temple.
Well, Agrias, you didn't really have many of your belongings with you when you made the transport, so it's not like you have to put away a bunch of bags or anything.
Right, I just got my blades. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Your blades, your armor.
You're going to want to bring those.
Okay. I strap back in.
Yep. Agrias straps back up. Ray and Mar, something that you notice. It's a well-known fact among magi on Orth that casting spells while wearing armor is impossible.
Yeah.
Elves somehow do not necessarily have to conform to this. Magic user fighter elves are able to wear armor and still cast spells. No one has really explicitly explained how this works, but as somebody who is kind of a historian and someone who is lore, it's important to them. It's something that just sticks out to you as he's strapping in, that he strikes your mind. You wonder how that actually works.
I'm going to make a note of it to ask Calissa about it later.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just flip open my journal real quick, write it down.
Sure.
We're going to head down to the room. So the room where Hagranka had defeated the Chimera. I had asked Norik and the brothers of Zanye to clean that room up and also salvage what I thought would have been valuable alchemical ingredients of an undead Chimera. Because it's kind of a rare creature.
Sure, absolutely.
No, actually, I mentioned that to Calissa, I think.
You did. You mentioned to Calissa, but you also told Calissa to have the others help her. That's where that confusion came.
That's right. Okay. So those materials, I assume they're going to be stored in Atria's old room that Calissa is staying in.
Yeah, Calissa is probably going to have to jar some of this stuff and preserve it.
Yeah. Okay. So that said, I want to go to that room where the Chimera was, because it's a far bigger room than some of the others. Right? Okay. And it's pretty cleaned up now, and that's where I got the the shield and the boots, the sandals.
Yes, and one other thing I should mention. Agrias, you walk in this place, and it's a lot different than the place when you left it. First of all, there's no undead chimera inside of there. That's always nice. But second of all, it looks like somebody has painted the walls in this place. Okay?
Okay.
On one half of it, there's kind of like these pictoglyphs that are done. They're done in the Gnollish style, and they relate a fight. And you can see your character. You see Agrias in there, and you see Sister Aramina, Rainmar, the whole process of you falling through shadow. And as it goes around the walls of it, it finally relates this big battle between this fierce-looking gnoll in which he ends up defeating the Chimera. And the last pictoglyph is Rainmar and the Carrion Queen exchanging blood. They're both drinking blood out of a looks like a skull, and that is a ancient Gnollish rite of friendship, or at least alliance. Since there's really no word for friendship among gnolls.
Okay.
Yeah, you recognize that they have done that they have celebrated that whole iconic battle in terms of art and lore. It's become part of their conversant lore. Anyway, please go ahead, Raymar. What are you going to do?
As we're walking, the obvious question is, where is my beloved sister Aramina?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out, my friend. She is either at the bottom of the Citadel, or she is still on the plane of shadows, under in the Citadel.
Agrias, it occurs to you that although you've reasoned this out, you have yet to try and extend your senses through shadow to try and actually find her. Would you like to try and do that?
I'm going to look at Rangmar and go, you know what? Last time I did... What is that?
I'm trying to figure it out myself. What is it?
It's called Lucky Jack, and it's a cold brew coffee.
Oh, okay.
It's good?
The world is burger, so I can't get my cortado, so I got to go another route.
I got it.
Ah, okay.
So, I'm a drug addict. I got to get my shit.
So I look at Rangmar and I say, the last time I tried to do this, I disappeared for 22 years. But I think I can find her. So I'll try.
Roll me a percentage dice, Agrias.
Yeah, you're not going to flicker.
He's not going to try and flicker.
Jesus.
48.
Agrias, you reach back through shadow. The world kind of in front of you becomes this reverse negative. All light becomes darkness. All darkness becomes light. Everything becomes kind of ghostly and weird as you extend your senses around you. And you're looking for those points of light that are life. Okay? And what you discover is gnolls, first of all. They give off a different kind of a life than orcs and humans and elves. All of them have a different kind of illumination they give off. When you go and extend your senses, you can get as far as the Tower of Shadows. And the reason being is because the Tower of Shadows is such a beacon to you. Mm-hmm. Because it represents this monolithic shadow. But as you suggested might be true, there is something in the garden that has two shadows. It casts two shadows at once. One is the shadow of a human woman, and the other is the shadow of a rat.
Mm.
Amazing.
And you sense that she is close. It's like she is trying to struggle free. Everything was kind of pulling... Imagine this, okay, Agrias. When you came through to the prime plane, through the plane of shadow, it was like breaking through a surface of water. And there's a huge wake that follows it. She was part of that wake, along with some other things. It didn't quite make it all the way. but you think she's retrievable. She's not too far out.
Okay.
Okay, you're not saying that to me, though. You're saying that to him.
Yeah,
so
I'm
you
saying
got to
that to
decide if you're going to tell me that.
Yeah, I'm saying that to you.
Yeah, I relay that because it's
Okay, great. So now that we can meta the hell out of this, is it possible to recover her human shadow and cure her of the verminthropy?
First of all, I want to give you 100 points of extra experience for the coining the term verminthropy that I really wish I would have thought of personally. That's freaking awesome. I'm going to use that in Castle Entertainment from now on. But second of all, yeah, there's a couple that actually leads itself to a couple other really cool ideas with that, but that's not a story. Agrias, it is possible to bring usually what happens is if you remove the shadow from somebody. If you remove the shadow from somebody, it usually means that you're killing them. Because what it does, remember that the way that shadow magic works because you are affecting the symbology of somebody to affect their real body. Okay? So usually what that would mean is you'd be killing them by removing their shadow. However, in this particular case, since she has two, it may be possible to do exactly what Rainmar suggests. There's a danger in it, but...
Time out. As much as I want Agrias to get the experience points for this, it might be smarter to have Alta Teresa do this since she is...
Oh, I'm way ahead of you. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to give me the, like, can we do it? I'm like, yeah, 1 sec, let me go get Alta Teresa.
Well, first things first, however, I brought you to this room for a reason.
What's up?
It seems very empty, like, his voice echoing around inside the marble confines when he speaks.
It seems like maybe you've been through some stuff in the last 22-odd subjective years.
Yeah.
The thing is, I've been working out a lot, too, and training, too. And I just go ape shit with my spear and swing right for his ribcage right here.
Okay.
When he says I've been through a lot of shit too, I don't even hesitate and draw my sword.
Okay.
Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong, dude. I'm gonna fuck you up. I mean, this is...
I need both of you guys to roll me 6-siders.
That's a 6.
Oh!
4.
Okay, you just barely beat him, Rainmar. Agrias is super duper fast. The Aijitsu ability has the sword out super duper quick, but you're still a little bit faster because you caught him by surprise. Oh, you're gonna say you're gonna roll an attack on him?
Yeah, and I'm on my 3/2. I'm just gonna do one attack this round because I'm just starting the fight, so I'm just gonna.
Right. Are you going to be employing Myrmidon style?
Yeah, that's why I started with because I was carrying the spear like this. That's why I started with this.
Agrias right away, one of the reasons why he got initiative, the jump on you, Rainmar's style is complete. And remember, as somebody who is steeped in the world of combat, you are constantly deconstructing the styles of people around you when you see them fight. Rainmar's style is completely different. His footwork is completely different. It's very different than any other fighter you've ever seen in your life. The way he's holding his shield, the way he's holding his spear, it is very, very different.
And let's be clear. Okay, let's be clear. From the very beginning, I mean, Season 1, Episode 1, Rainmar has been mystified by Agrias' fighting style. So right now, he's really just trying to impress his friend.
Roll me
beating the shit out of him.
Roll me a 20 there, Rainmar.
18.
Okay. Are you attacking to do damage, or are you, like, actual physical damage or subdual damage?
Oh, I'm just trying
non-lethal or lethal?
Yeah, no, non-lethal. In fact, I'm aiming about this further up the shaft. I'm not even trying to hit him with the blade.
Okay, roll me a 6, please.
5.
Agrias, you got the blade up, and you're kind of coming back. He hits you with the spear. It's clearly, obviously, not an attempt at a kill shot, because he's not even going with the tip of the blade, unless this is some weird artifact of his new fighting style. He's really strong. Raymar's a big boy, okay? And he's pretty strong, and he's not lying about the fact he's been training. The blow that hits you is quite forceful. The way that you notice, one of the things he does is he keeps the shield up, and when he comes with the spear, it almost like rolls across the top of the shield, so that there's really he's got leverage that way. He can use it as a throwing weapon, he can use it as a plunging weapon, and at the same time, it kind of creates leverage for him. It's like I said, it's a very unorthodox kind of attack. You take 5 points of subdual damage right now, which is non-lethal.
Okay.
What are you going to do, Agrias?
I'm going to roll it off me. And I'm gonna look at Rangmar and use the Ebb and Whisper command. Drop your weapons.
Raybar, make me a saving throw.
Which one's that?
20-sider, please.
10.
Rainmar?
Yep.
You feel this horrible chill come over your body for a second. When Agrias says these words, the words don't make a sound. They make kind of like this anti-sound. Around his mouth, you almost like when he breathes, you see the whisper of black shadow come from his mouth. You're holding your spear, and you're looking at him, and you see, because of your posture, your shadow drop the spear, and then your hand just uncurls from your spear, clatters to the ground.
Dude, what the fuck just happened? My shield too, though.
Oh yeah, your shield too.
Because he said drop my.
I forgot, that's considered a weapon for you. Yeah, so yeah, shield and spear just clatter to the ground. You hear the echo around in the room, the quiet echo now.
And to be clear, to be specific, Agrias, you wanted me to drop my spear and my shield.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
That was the command.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, this comes out as a no-brainer, but I have the rose sword strapped to my back, so I draw that thing off.
Okay.
And we're talking like it's not quite as dope as his EI Jutsu, but bro, I'm the wild light. You know what I'm saying?
Agrias, there was that pause for a second, and you saw that little flicker in Rainmar's eye, almost like there's a half of him that's like, what the fuck was that? Totally. And there's another part of it that's like, that was the coolest thing ever. It's like
totally.
It's that dichotomy between him being this lore master and being a warrior, where part of him is just like, that was the coolest thing ever, and part of him is like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he's got the sword out in a flash in the next second, and he's you're going to attack again?
Yeah, obviously with the dole of the blade.
Okay.
I think the rope sword is a katana, right?
It is, yeah. So you can go back edge with it.
So just with the dole of the blade, I'm just going to come like right here.
Roll me a 20, please.
5.
Okay, Agrias, it's clear to you that he's been practicing with the spear a lot, not so much with the katana. As it's easy enough for you to kind of to push it away, or to just kind of slide away from the attack. What will you do in response? Raymar, you attack him, and he is just simply not there in a second. He's there, and then he's just like 2 feet away. He just moves so fast and so fluid now.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Can I just say something?
Of course.
Real quick. Okay, dude, since you've been gone, I have been crushing everyone that stands in front of me. This pisses me off.
Agrias, your turn. What are you going to do?
I'm taking on gnolls and minotaurs and fucking orcs
and now this guy just shows up and he is, yeah. Agrias, what are you going to do?
All right.
I'm going to take the flat of my blade and just palm strike him with the flat of it in his face.
Okay, roll me a 20.
All right. Where can I roll this?
Just
bear with me.
Roll 20.
It's an undertow dice, so it won't work until it's the clutch.
Totally.
What was that, a 10?
10.
Okay. Rainmar, he palms the blade and he gets you a little bit up with it, but you're able to kind of back off of it in time so he doesn't get quite as much on it as he should. Your turn.
Can I... How close am I to my spear and my shield?
If they're right at your feet.
Can I kick down at my shield to try to get it to jump up into his shins?
Of course you can. Asperian taught you that everything in your environment is a weapon. It is just your ability to use it that comes into question.
Totally.
So go ahead and roll me a 20.
16.
Ooh. Agrias, you palm it, he kind of backs off, and at the same time when he does it, it's like he uses his heel and comes down on the edge of his shield. And at first you thought he tripped, but it's clearly on purpose, and it kicks up straight at you, and the angle of it kind of jams into your shins. Roll me a four-sider, please, Raymar.
You said a four-sider.
Yep.
Choto fucking latte, alright? There we go. That's a 3.
Take 3 points of subdual damage, so it's a total of 8. It's really not that big of a deal to you right now, Agrias. He is another thing that you notice about him now. His motion, the way that he is fighting, the guy who is trained, or whoever has trained him, has taught him a couple things. Number one, he is a way more creative fighter than he was previously. And number two, he's a dirty fighter. He is able to use there's a lot of cheap tricks that he knows, which the truth is, Agrias, and you were taught this even in the Abbey, there is no such thing really as a dirty fighter. There is just somebody who uses more of their environment and people who choose not to.
Right. Okay, I'm going to take that shin hit and drop to one knee and elbow defang his quad.
Okay, roll me a 20.
18!
Raymar, roll me a 20 yourself, please. And Agrias, do me a four-sider.
Four-sider.
What'd you get, Raymar, for your 20?
14.
Okay.
4.
Okay. Raymar, Agrias' elbow is like a bullet as it comes through, like a sling bullet. It comes through so fast when he hits you. And at first you don't expect there to be too much to it because he's so light. But God, is he strong, and the mass seems like it's way more than you expected. When he hits you, you feel everything in your quad go numb for a second. You kind of stagger. You don't drop, but your movement is hampered right now to some degree, and you've taken 4 points of subdual damage.
Jesus. All right.
Actually, 5 points of subdual damage. I forgot the strength bonus.
Okay, 5. Yeah. And it's my turn?
Yep, your turn. And you're 3-2 if you have your spear in hand, which you don't right now.
Which I don't, but my spear is close by.
What's that?
My spear is close by.
Your spear is close by.
All right, so I just want to know this. Can I, with that bouncing shield effect, can I do some Captain America shit where I catch my own shield?
Well, I was going to say, it's kind of flipping in the air right now. So you have one of two moves that you could use. You can either let it clatter to the ground and go for your spear. Hey, thanks a lot, Scottish Jeff. I really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting what we do here, man. I know the guys
Scottish Jeff, too. Stop interrupting, bro.
Rainmar, you are in the... you can either let it clatter to the ground, or you can pick your spear up, or you can continue to attack with a rose sword. What will you do? It's flickering in the air right now as we speak.
I see what you did there. Okay, look, I'm going to catch my shield because it's just cool. Okay. All right? Okay, so that's
I need you to roll me a 20, please.
14.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. That was one of my 2 for 3, right?
It is a non-action because you don't have a 2 for 3 with a shield per se, but I'm giving that to you as a free.
Well, I'm not even going to attack. My next roll is going to be a non-combat action. So the shield bounces, I catch the shield, and then I grab my spear and dive roll away from him to get some distance.
Okay. Agrias, he does exactly as he says. He catches the shield in midair, and as he rolls something, again, you're an Epicurean at combat. The way that he rolls, it's definitely a trained roll because he's got his shield up the entire time waiting for a counter strike. As he rolls, he really very rarely leaves himself open. That shield, the way he does it, he keeps it in body line all the time. It's just really difficult. It's very disciplined style, which is weird to you because when you saw Rainmar before previously, his style his style was savage. It was very it was just kind of this flurry of blows kind of style. But this is way more practiced than that. You're impressed. Your turn, Agrias, and you have 3 for 2 this time. What are you going to do?
Okay. How far away is he to the wall? Or from the wall, I should say.
Probably about 15 feet at this point.
I rolled toward the wall, kind of.
Yeah, about 15 feet. This is a 50 by 50 by 50 room, though. It's pretty huge. So
we came to fight in here so we could move around a little bit, you know?
Can I command him to slam his head against the wall?
You can try to. It's a harder move to make, but you can try. You could also be right next to him with a flicker if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, flicker in this room again, dipshit.
I'll flicker.
You're a lot more practiced than before.
Yeah, you probably couldn't even if you went to the plane of shadow, what would it matter? You just come back.
Right. I'm going to flicker in front of him and slam him in the face with an elbow.
Okay. Roll me a percentage dice first.
54.
Rainmar, the last time you saw him fall into shadow, he fell backwards because he was unpracticed, unbalanced, not trained. This time when Agrias moves towards you, the first thing you see is him dive forward towards shadow. He flickers out of existence in this wisp of shadow. And for just an eye blink, he's gone. When he appears, he's right in front, right next to your shield, and the elbow is coming up to the face. Roll me a 20, Agrias. What'd you roll? 20? Roll me a d6.
God.
Actually, I take that back. That's max damage. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Raymar, the elbow comes up. Make me a 20-sider, please, Raymar.
12.
Okay. The elbow comes up. It hits you square in the temple to the point where, and it surprises you so much that it almost breaks your style discipline. It staggers you over to the side. You almost fall down. You almost lose consciousness because he got you so close to the temple. But you managed to hang on. You've got the shield back up. It was just a brief, instant moment of lapse there because it was such a surprising attack. You've got the shield back. The spear is still down there. Agrias is right in your face. What are you going to do?
Well,
and the world is a little blurry right now.
I have the spear because I rolled.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you grabbed the spear on the way by. Yeah, you've got the spear.
And I have the shield.
Yep.
So he caught me off guard because of the teleport.
That's exactly why. Yeah, and because of the teleport, he could kind of get beside your shield. He's been studying your style. It's clear to you, Rainmar, because he notices everything is body line like that with the shield, and so when he teleported, he got to the side of it and exploited that. It's a trick that there's no way you could possibly be prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, because one of the problems I'm seeing is that even though I've studied the Tenebrous Hand training method front and back, watching him train with Altatrissa, he's different.
Yeah, he's different. He's faster. He's stronger, and
so am I, fucker.
And there's something to be said about the fact that before, when he fell backwards into shadow, now he's diving towards it. It's like he's embracing it. He's in so much more control of it now that he doesn't fear the losing himself to shadow. Which is, in a way, it's kind of scary.
Okay, so it's my move.
That shot was a good one, though, man. He staggered you pretty good.
Okay, so he's close quarter.
Yeah.
So what Esperion taught me was close with the spear and then drive with the shield unless you're in close range, and then you start with the shield and go with the spear.
Back him off with that to spear range, then use the spear.
So that's where I'm at. Then I have to, according to the style, I have to use the shield for this range.
20 me, please.
Oh, God.
What'd you roll?
Oh, God.
A 1?
It's a natural 30. It was D100, right?
Right, exactly. What'd you roll, you fool? 4? What's that, a 3?
A 3.
Okay, roll me another 20, please.
God damn it. 19.
Okay.
What a save.
Agrias, when he comes at you with the shield, you know you staggered him good. You know he's seeing triple because when he came at you, he wasn't even online at all. He goes right through midair with the shield, expected obviously to see your body there, but goes into a roll and pops up still in good posture. He missed you clean, though. Rainmar, you're starting to get your stuff back together again now after missing that way. Agrias, your turn. And this is another 3-2.
I'm going to...
By the way, Agrias, make me a 20 if you would, please.
Yes, sir. What is that? 18.
There are 2 or 3 gnolls that have gathered at the door and are watching you.
It's a matter of time before Norik is here.
Yeah, they're all watching. They're watching you in there, and you can hear them chittering. They're that little eerie laugh that they make in the background when they start getting excited because of bloodlust and things like that. That's what Noel's biological response is they start that little laughter, and they're doing that little hyena laugh right now. All of them. Go ahead.
I'm going to command him to sprawl out on the ground, and then I'm going to cast through the sword with a palm strike again. Sleep.
Okay. Oh, man. Rainmar. This is a dirty, dirty move.
Okay, I have a question. Can I block with the shield and avoid the sleep effect?
What's really going to be in question here is there's no save for sleep. However, the question is going to be, if you can avoid the first attack, you may be able to counter-strike and spoil the spell.
Got it.
So, we're going to have you're going to use the command first. Rainmar, roll me a saving throw for that command, please.
20.
Oh, Agrias, you reach through. Again, Rainmar, this time you see him make that noise. He's starting to vocalize a little bit. So you know you got to make a move. And as he does it, you kind of just concentrate, you focus in and get your lock in on yourself a little bit. And you can feel your shadow being affected by his magic, but you manage to resist the effects. Agrias, you begin to cast the sleep spell. Rainmar, you have a move. If you can hit him, you'll spoil the spell. What are you going to do?
Actually, how close are we to how close is Hagranka?
Hagranka is not among the gnolls outside.
Okay, these are just some of the...
Yeah, there's some of the other gnolls, and they're actually the queen's daughter is there watching this. Hey, Corey, thanks so much for following us, brother. We really appreciate it.
How close is the closest gnoll?
Probably about 10 feet.
Are you going to try and get me to cast sleep on one of them?
Yeah. I want to try to redirect the cast to somebody else.
Can I pick up on that?
Can I redirect the cast onto Agrias?
No, you can't do that, but you may be able to get him to throw it in a different direction. Rainbow, roll me a 20, please, and Agrias, roll me also a 20.
20! Dude!
Okay.
Dude!
17.
Okay, Agrias. You see? Oh, thanks so much, Corey. We really appreciate it, man. That's really nice
That's
of you.
2 20s in a row, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Rainmar. Agrias, you know something's coming. He's doing something weird because the shoulder dips a little bit, the spear comes up a little bit. You're not really sure what he's doing, but because he's become such a good fighter, you just go with what you know.
Uh-huh.
You come in with the sword. Rainmar leans forward, takes the front of his shield, and pulls you in a little bit. The palm heel strike goes over his head,
And I put the princess
and
to
you
sleep.
watch 3 gnolls drop unconscious to the ground, asleep.
Okay, hold on. I know this is unusual, but I want magic user experience points for that because I technically dropped those 3 knolls.
Wow. What a request, Judge. What a request. Out of my face with that.
Get out of here, Rainmar, with that garbage. Rainmar, okay. You guys are all, but the thing is, Raymar, because of the way you had to do that, you guys are locked up real close. I need you both to roll me a 6-sider for a new initiative right now. Raymar,
6-sider, you said?
Yep, please.
I have a question about his new form.
Okay.
Okay, we're locked in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still bigger and stronger than him.
Yes, you are.
Splitting dice. Hold on. I'll play it as it lands.
What'd you roll, Grice?
5.
I rolled a 2, sir.
Okay, so that's a total of 4 right now because of your initiative bonus. What'd you get,
5.
Raymar? You rolled a 5? You said 5? Okay, Raymar, you go first. You're locked up. He just went over your head. You've got the sword kind of on the inside of your shield. You're looking at the way it just kind of darkness kind of it swirls and eddies along the path of the blade.
Oh. I just realized that I had to drop my rose sword in order to roll on the spear.
You did. It's laying in the middle of the ground right now.
Yeah, that's
in the hallway. All these gnolls are out cold.
I'm comfortable with that.
That's awkward for everybody else.
There's no sign of Norik?
No, not yet.
All right. What about Monty?
Not yet.
Okay.
Wow, what a dirty fighter. Oh, wow.
It's because I'm going to lose, dipshit, and I haven't lost in a long time, okay? So I'm not used to losing, okay? All right. I'm going to disarm his sword.
Okay.
Because I'm in a close... So I figured that sword went past me to put the gnolls asleep, right? I'm just going to use my shield and spear...
as leverage to kind of...
like scissor effect.
Right. Rainmar, go ahead and roll me a 20, Agrias. Your sense of... your blind fighting sense and your ability to sense through shadow, there are things coming down the hallway towards you. Okay. Rainmar, what do you get? What'd you roll?
14.
Agrias, I need you to roll me a 20, please, for a save. Or at least an ability check.
Ooh. 4.
No, that's actually, you want to go under your strength.
Oh, okay.
Rainmar, you hit the technique right, but Agrias is so light. It's weird. His ability, it's almost like his mass comes and goes. And he's so light that when you do the scissor effect, you kind of throw him in the air with the weapon. He hangs onto it, and he just lands adroitly, probably about maybe 3 feet from where he was, still in possession of his blade. You've got a little bit of distance on him.
So it worked as a throw, kind of.
Yeah, it kind of worked like a throw more than anything.
Okay.
Landed on his feet, though. Agrias, this is a 1-attack round for you. What are you going to do? You're, by the way, position-wise, you are probably about 5 feet from the mouth of the hallway. And down the hallway, you can see just a glimpse of these about maybe 4 foot high from the air, foxfire green burning eyes as it strides down the hallway.
We're gonna fuck you up, dude.
I'm gonna I don't know how to word that. I'm going to grab a hold of Rangmar and flicker.
Where are you going to go?
I'm just going to grab him, go through with him, and then slam him through the hallway.
Okay. Rainmar, well, first of all, let's do the flicker attempt. Agrias, I need you to roll me 2 sets of percentage die.
Doesn't he have to roll to grab me too?
Yep.
Fucking punk.
40. 69.
Okay, and I need you to roll me a 20 now.
20.
This is if this is the one you want to do well on. 14 or better is a successful move here.
Okay. 2.
Okay. Rainmar.
Yeah.
Agrias disappears. Okay, that he does that dive through shadow move again. Raymar, this time you're ready for it.
Okay.
He doesn't telegraph where he's going, but by the same token, you're at the ready for it, and when he appears again, he reaches out to grab you. You have the shield up in time. You block his hand away. Agrias, when you reappear out of shadow the second time, you're over by the mouth of the hallway. At the same time, you hear this growling, and something is running down the hallway towards you now.
Okay.
It's close. Raymar, your turn. You're about maybe 20 feet from him.
I'm 20 feet away?
Yep, 20 feet away. He teleported quite a distance.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he went to grab you, tried to teleport you, ended up by the door because he was going to throw you down the hallway.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, I'm going to throw my shield at him.
Okay.
Wait. Am I close enough? Is my movement rate enough that I can lunge with the spear to close the distance?
Roll me a 20-sider.
16.
It will be close.
I'm going to go for it. This is my 2 for 3 round, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go lunge and then close in with the shield.
Okay. Agrias, Raymar comes charging at you. Body behind the shield, eyes just above it. Got the spear just above the shield again. The thing about Raymar's style now is he does not give you much. He does. I think it's more one of those styles that, as you're looking at it, that it's it's offense by way of defense. It's almost like a counterpunch style because he just gives you nothing to go for. Raymar, roll me a 20, please.
2 20s, right?
120 first, please.
12.
Okay. Raymar, you come at him with a spear. Agrias, he's at you. You kind of have to duck out of the way of it. Now roll me your 20, Raymar. If you rolled very low, you would have gotten the second attack.
4.
Okay. Raymar, you come in with the shield next. Agrias isn't there. Again, he's so fast, he just kind of sidesteps it. Agrias from behind you also, you sidestep it and duck at the same time. This gigantic wolf comes flying over your head. This pelt of darkness. All fangs and forepaw talons just come lunging at you. Monty does not know this is a joke. Monty was trying to take your head off.
But she doesn't recognize him.
Right. Monty is like, this is not playtime. This is daddy time.
You might want to address that then.
Guys, that you could tell right away with the way that she came at you that that was not a joke. She's right over top of your head. She lands in the middle of the room, turns around, snarls. Her eyes are this burning green foxfire. Just this hellish hatred burning in the room, and she starts to tear through the room, coming back at you. And when she does, it's almost like she's just consuming the space between you, running at you. It's your turn, Agrias. What are you gonna do? Fireball for a striker.
You might want to dive the hell out of the way, dude. Like, dive toward me.
I'll dive toward Rangmar.
Okay, you dive towards Rainmar.
Give me
Rainmar,
the
a little bit of a surprise from Agrias when Agrias does not really. Again, something about Agrias. There's no change in his expression whatsoever. Just cold, dispassionate. He doesn't even look like he's breathing hard. Okay, when he dives at your feet to try and get out of Monty's way, Monty once again misses wildly, and as a matter of fact, Monty hits the wall. About Mach 2. You hear this horrible cracking noise when she hits the wall, to the point where you're like, she had to have broken her neck, had to have cracked her skull. Nope. Turns right around, and she is back at the snarling and fangs dripping with spittle. Yeah, she's just got a thick skull.
Okay.
Your turn, Rainmar.
Yeah, so let's just replay this. I attacked and missed. She attacked and missed.
And hit the wall.
And then Agrias evaded and she attacked, she hit the wall.
Yeah.
So
and you're really close to Agrias right now because he closed distance to you to get out of the way of.
And he ate shit. He dove for the ground.
That is correct. So he's pretty low right now.
I just reach down and help him up, and I tell her, settle down, okay? Just settle down.
Agrias, you know he's a pretty dirty fighter. Are you going to accept the hand?
Fuck no.
Okay, well, I've got to get her calmed down regardless.
Okay, so. Rainmar, you put your hands up. I need you to roll me a 20, please.
I need to stand between her and him.
Right. Make me a 20.
20.
Do you have the animal handling ability? I don't. Do you have the animal handling non-weapon proficiency?
No, I don't think so.
I don't believe you do either, but that's okay. You rolled a 20. So, Jeremy, Raymar comes over, gets between. Settle down. She looks at you, and instantly her demeanor changes. She looks at you like, almost like, am I in trouble?
And does she recognize him, though?
Her whole... No, because he's got a totally different scent. That's the problem, is that his body is totally different now. And she is such a scent-based animal. That's why she totally doesn't recognize him.
I'm going to encourage her to come over and say hi.
She looks at Agrias.
Agrias,
you're here on the ground.
Sword.
By the way, Agrias, you got his back is to you. You got to do anything about that, or are you going to sheath your weapon?
Only if you want to die.
Yeah, coming from the person that had to call in reinforcements.
You know what they call a cheater who wins, right?
Yeah. He's trying to calm down Monty, so now I'm going to sheath my sword.
Okay, you're standing back up then. Or are you going to stay on the ground?
I'm going to stand back up, yeah.
Okay, you stand back up. Monty, you encourage Rainmar to come over. Monty kind of walks over. You ever see a dog after it's done something wrong, and it kind of is like a little ginger when it's walking, almost like it's conciliatory? That's the kind of posture that Monty has. It's clear she thinks she's in trouble, and she doesn't really know what's going on here. Now she's really confused, because the guy that was trying to kill Daddy is now his buddy. But she comes over at your behest and starts to sniff at Agrias. She looks confused by his scent.
Can either of us speak to her? Actually, I'm just going to say, I'm going to gesture to him and say Agrias. For lack of a...
She looks at you and she says, no smell.
And I say...
Agrias? She looks up at him like, really?
I say, Shadow.
Hey, thanks, Eclectic. Thanks, David. We appreciate it, brother.
David, damn it.
He looks at you and says, Agrias shadow. And nods a little bit. Hear footsteps coming down the hall. Hey, Monty, what's going on down there?
I whisper to Monty, go get Norik.
Turns around and starts running down towards the hallway, jumps over the three knolls with this huge bound, starts running over. Hey, Monty, heal, girl, heal! Ah! You hear him yell.
And I just elbow Agrias. It's like you never left, right?
God damn it, girl! What are you doing? No, not there! You hear him yelling.
Now, I want to introduce.
Something is coming towards you, by the way, Rainmar, down the hallway. Something is coming back towards you, Rainmar.
I pick up the rose sword.
Mm-hmm.
Sheath it.
Agrias, what you and Rainmar see in a moment later, is Monty comes back down the hall. Norik, she's got Norik by the back of his neck in her jaws, and she's running. She's got this jaunty, happy look on her face, and she drops it right. She drops him right at your feet, Rainmar, and Agrias's feet. And she looks at you like, "Am I a good girl now?" Norik's like, "What the hell was that?"
I give her a little fluffy on the ears, and I kiss her right here.
Yeah.
And I tell her that she should go play now because she's a good girl.
She looks at you and looks at Agrias and takes off and runs away. And Norik is laying there, laying on his back, staring up at the both of you, going, "What in the name of Ares was that?"
Norik, get up. We don't have time for you to lounge around right now.
He pushes himself up. I didn't know you'd sick her on me.
Well, you're supposed to be Norik the Wildlight, not Norik the lazy bitch. Get up.
He's getting up. I'm getting up.
All right, listen.
What's with the gnolls in there? Did you kill all these gnolls?
Agrias' aim isn't very good, and he...
Now, wait a minute.
Are they dead? He looks at him. Yeah. Oh, are they the bad guys now?
No, they're not the bad guys. Agrias is the bad guy. Why aren't you killing him?
He looks over at you and looks over at Rainmar. He says, "Was this what it was like all the time before I got here?"
Yes.
No, sometimes we actually messed around a little bit.
He shakes his head a little. He sits himself up. My armor is covered in warg slobber now, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you smell terrible.
Yeah, I know. I'm an orc. I'm supposed to smell terrible.
I want you to follow me and Agrias. We have a brief discussion with Alta Teresa, and I think you should be there for it.
All right. Let's go. So he goes, Agrias, it's amazing how quickly Rainmar can go from 0 to 60, from being in full flight of this kill crazy rampage to right back to cold calculating here. But
I just look right as we're walking back to Alta Teresa's room. I just look at him and I'm like, dude, we got interrupted, but round 2 is later. I mean, he
steps over the gnolls and he's looking at him. He looks at the princess, looks up at you, Agrias and Rainmar. She ain't gonna be happy when she wakes up, I can tell you that.
And I start laughing and ask, when are gnolls ever happy?
Right?
Good point. Good point. So you guys all walk together and you get back over to Alta Teresa's room. Alta Teresa's not there, however, when you get over to the room, because you find her a little earlier. She's actually over with Asperion, and they're sitting there in his room, and they're laughing. The two of them are actually like having a chuckle together over something. It's the weirdest thing to see, Agrias. You have never ever seen Alta Teresa laugh, and Rainmar, you sure as hell haven't seen Asperion laugh before. So there's this is kind of a weird moment. As soon as they see you, they both look up at you. They just get dead silent.
Are we interrupting?
Not at all. Please. And just as quickly as you went from 0 to 60, it's like the mask just went right back on.
Mistress of Shadow, I have a request. Agrias has been able to locate Sister Arumina. Would it be possible to bring her to the temple?
He looks over at you. She looks over at you, Agrias, and she says, "You did you?" And she kind of has this almost like, please smile on her face, like, I'm impressed.
I did, but she has 2 shadows.
She nods. That would stand to reason.
Is
Is it your intention to separate them?
I don't think so, because I realized that her verminthropy trademark is
Jesus.
well, somebody in the
Amanda threw that out there before.
It's actually kind of an advantage for us. I'm metagaming here, guys. You know, like
I can't believe that you would do such a thing.
I'll slap the shit out of you. I mean, I'm not even. Oh, fuck you. Remember that one night where you. Oh god, we were gaming in the car at that shitty signal. Remember that? Anyway, I guess I'm metagaming a little bit. What are the advantages of bringing her back only as a human?
Well, in terms of pure game statistics, absolutely, she'd be far worse off.
Totally.
I mean, because when she is in her hybrid form of a rat human, she's getting so many bonuses as a monk, it's beyond belief.
Yeah.
But it may change her demeanor quite a bit. It may change the way that it may change her from a non-combat perspective quite a bit.
I don't want to do that because as cool as I think it is, I don't want to change her as a character because I like her so much. I don't want to screw with the character. So we're just wondering if you can recover her so that I can have my Zanye monk trainer back.
She looks at you and she says, well, Agrias did find her. Perhaps it's better if Agrias goes and retrieves her.
Experience points.
She smiles.
You dumb fucker. You probably got a ton of experience points fighting me, too.
Agrias, she says,
putting the moles to sleep, you dipshit.
If you wish it, I will go and I will ferry her back to the land of light. But if you wish it, I think it is within your capabilities to do so yourself. I have faith in you, she says, and puts her hand on your shoulder.
I kind of blush and just give her a nod and step back to retrieve her.
Okay, as you step back to retrieve her, you're noticing Asperian. And Asperian Agrias is this tall, powerfully built Hellenic warrior. And he's looking up and down at Rainmar. He's looking at his shield. He's looking at his spear. You notice right away he can tell that he's been in a fight. And he's right away he's studying the parts of him that have seemed to have gotten wear during the fight, so he can see how he did. He's that good of a fighter. It's that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Agrias, you go ahead and you step back through shadow. It's not unlike flickering, really. Except this is more like diving into a pool and not trying to come out the other side. It's like being in this darkness and trying to find something within this gigantic ocean of night. I need you to roll me a percentage. Raymar, what you see is Agrias look back at his shadow, and the shadow and him reach out at the same time towards one another, grasp hands, and one becomes the other, and they just disappear.
90.
Agrias, everything around you is this inky blackness. It's like being in absolute darkness in this great ocean. There's no up, there's no down, there's nothing solid anywhere around you. It's this great sea of blackness. In the sea of blackness, probably a few hundred yards from you, you see a point of light glimmering kind of wanly in the darkness. Are you going to make your way to it?
It's the only light I see?
The only light you see, yes.
Yeah, I will.
As you go there, Agrias, there's a voice that whispers in your head, and you have this vision of a young girl. She's really, really scared. She's on the streets of a great city. She's scared because her mommy and daddy aren't around. Something bad has happened to them. Something happened to daddy, and now he hurt mommy, and now he wants to hurt her too. And she's running through this dark kind of labyrinth. And the thing that she sees coming out of shadow at her is this rat-like face suddenly before it latches onto her neck. And she kicks and screams. Then you hear another voice in the back of your head. And the voices, when they whisper to you, they're these sibilant hissing noises. And you recognize the voices. The dragons from the plane of shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And as it whispers into your mind, it conjures this emotion of you slithering through this darkness, and you're looking through another perspective. You see a hand reaching out to her. This person has fear. It's Daddy again. He's here to hurt her, and it recoils, but the hand grabs her and holds her tight. And it's so strange that right as that vision is passing, your hand is reaching out to grasp that point of light. And you can see this person, this shadowy figure that casts two shadows that are visible even in darkness. The fear in her blue eyes as she backs away from you, this primal terror, as you grasp the front of her clothes. The vision of the future just completely melding into the present. Are you going to try and withdraw her?
Yes.
Okay. Make me a percentage die roll.
Yes, sir.
Roll a 0-1.
That is a 24.
Okay.
It's pretty good, too.
Agrias, the next thing you are aware of is you are stepping back through your body's shadows. Light, it's like the cup surfacing through water. You can see the ripples in the surface of it, all the light filtering down to you. You're holding her, swimming upwards, and as you break through the surface, you can feel the hand of your own shadow grab you and help you the rest of the way out. And you step through your own shadow, pulling Sister Aramina with you. Her shadow splitting into two on the ground behind you as you step back into the light of the world.
Damn.
She's laying there, shivering, just kind of staring at the wall, holding herself. Sister Aramina, Ultra Teresa looks at you and just nods gently.
I pick her up.
This little smile on her face. Rainmar, what are you going to do?
I pick her up.
You start to pick her up, and she just clings onto you like a small child would.
Yeah.
Agrias, you're the only one really that has any idea of why she's holding him the way she is. It's apparent now to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! She's been in there. She's changed the same way that they are.
She's just holding on to you, Rainmar, and just is trembling.
Do I notice, when I look at her, do I notice that her skin has likewise paled?
No, actually, it isn't at all.
Okay.
It's totally normal flesh.
Okay. Cool.
A normal human being right now, Rainmar, you realize, would probably be aged and somewhat, she'd probably be in her mid 50s or late 50s at this point. However, she, being a verminthrope, is actually retained her youth perfectly. She doesn't really age anymore. So she was fortunate in that. However, she has still had the experience of having swum through shadow for about 22 years and being, hey, thanks so much, Lord Gasumble. We really appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for joining us. Rainmar, yeah, she's swum through the plane of shadow for 22 years now. Her experiences that she's gone through had to have been harrowing.
And she's been... Are the moons inversed there, so she spends most of her time in rat form?
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm going to carry her to my room.
Okay.
Which would have been Demetrios' room.
Yeah, you start to carry her to the room. Hey, thanks again, Lord Gasumba. We really appreciate the raid, man. That's really kind of you. Welcome everybody that's here to see our first Betrayal campaign.
My room is probably the most dialed, just because I'm...
you've been there longest, sure.
I've been building the library and all that. I probably have the biggest bed and everything. Course, so I'm going to set her up in there.
All right.
And I'm going to, as I walk down, because in order to get there, I have to walk back out to the main hallway and take a right at the Chimera's den. Do I see Calissa along the way?
As you walk down there, no. The person that you see as you walk through the main area is the Carrion Queen, the queen of the Knolls. And she is sitting there, and she sees the two of you. And it looks like she's going to say something at first, but she sees the way you're holding her and chooses to say nothing instead. Hey, thanks, Wintermute. We really appreciate it. And if that's who I think it is, then thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
You're going to want to tread carefully. Will Sister Calissa Antrati is in...
She's in the room not too far from there, not at all.
On the way by, so I stopped by Atria's room and I asked Calissa to accompany me to Demetrios' room.
While you do that, as you're doing that, I'm going to go back to Agrias. Agrias, you're there in the room with Asperian and Alta Teresa. And Asperian looks at you. Hey, thanks, Phantom. We appreciate it, bro. Agrias, Asperian looks at you up and down, and he says, how did he do?
He did well. He's
It occurs to you now, Agrias, looking at him, that he's long dead. He's a ghost. He casts no shadow. It's... Now that you're actually interacting with him, you can tell just the lack of presence there. And it's a little off-putting.
He did well. He's far less savage from when I last saw him.
Nods. He says, thanks, Corey. We appreciate it, man. He says, he looks at you and pauses and says, to the sides, yeah. You attacked him from the flank.
Yes.
Are you that fast, or was he that slow? Thanks, Wiley.
We are both in training.
He nods. Alta Teresa looks at Asperian and says, I sensed the displacement of the shadows. You flickered, did you not, Agrias?
Several times.
And you have no fear of this?
None at all. I have embraced it.
She nods. Looks over at Asperian. Asperian seems impressed. He goes, it's as you said, then. Alta Teresa says, I have much to do. And you and I must speak soon, Agrias. She says it as she walks away. Asperian kind of just sits there with his spear and kind of puts it down and looks over at you. You and I should have a discussion about this place and what it means.
He's speaking to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I look at him and I go, of course, but please, please forgive my manners. I am a Grias, and I offer my hand.
He looks at you, and he gives you a salute instead. He says, I am Asperian. He says.
I give him a nod. I go, I apologize. I've only been here for about 10 minutes and was challenged.
He shakes his head. He says, while you were gone, your friend spoke very highly of you. He holds you in great esteem. He holds your skills in esteem. It surprises me little that he would wish to prove himself.
Thank you.
He nods. If you are held in esteem by Rainmar, then you are in mine as well. He says, you wield a very unconventional blade like that of your mistress, as I see.
I do indeed.
He pulls out a small gladius from his side, a short sword, kind of looks at it back and forth. He says, it was never my favorite. More than just a short-range weapon. If we were to be disarmed or to counter with. Kind of puts it back. Says, I have much to learn as well, it seems. This is a new world I find myself in. He says, and if Rainmar has taught me anything in the time that I have studied, that I have taught him the ways of steel. There is something admirable about the inquisitive spirit. He nods. He is a chaser of truth and of knowledge. It's
and a shitster.
He laughs slightly. He says, truly you are his friend. Meanwhile, back going to Rainmar in the going into the other part of the temple. Rainmar, you're over there at going past Calissa and Trotty's room. And Calissa's in there, she sees you holding Sister Aramina, and when she kind of looks at you, sees you, kind of looks down, does a double take for a second. Her eyes are really wide. She puts her book down, gets up, walks over to you. She's back.
She's been pulled from the plane of shadow. I want you to examine her immediately.
I'm no priestess, she says and looks at you. I mean,
but you are a student.
I could do what I can, but having a true priest... There's a priest here that could help. She says and looks at you. You're a priest of Ares.
Fetch him then.
She nods. The two of us will inspect her to the best of our ability. She appears to have been through much after a pause.
I'll lay her down on the bed in Demetrios' room, and I'll pull the chair alongside the bed so I can sit by her.
Okay. You do. And you go ahead and you sit by her. She's sitting there. Her blue eyes are kind of a little bit closed as Calissa leaves the room. She looks like she's barely hanging on to consciousness. She says, I never thought I would see you again.
Oh, lucky me, I suppose.
A weak laugh. Who was that? Agrias?
He has changed.
He has. He's like a living shadow now.
22 years, he claims. 22 years have passed.
It must have been the same for me then, yes?
I suspect.
She nods. I've been away too long. Where are brothers Karak and Jonas? She says and kind of pauses. Has ill come of them?
Yes and no. Brother Jonas did fall, but we were able to recover him. They, both of the brothers now defend this temple.
Miracles. She kind of chuckles.
More than I can count.
Miracles. Blessed lady, I'm so tired. She leans her head back. Just kind of rests there in the bed. This bed is very comfortable.
I think it's possible I might actually be able to defeat you right now.
She kind of looks over it and smiles weakly. Don't count on it. Laughs a bit. You still need much to kill me. Believe me, they tried aplenty.
Who's they?
Agrias has many, many enemies.
And they were hunting
enemies. And they counted me as one of theirs. But they couldn't kill me. She smiles. They didn't know. I stayed as long as I could as a human to fool them. They never could tell. I don't think anyway. But he should know they come for him even now. They won't stop.
Sister, you know me well enough to know that neither will I.
As I see it, you reached across the plains, existences, to pluck me from the sea, from an ocean of night, where I was just a mote floating in a sea of night. And you think that I would believe truly that a living man would stop you? She laughs a bit. No, Rainmar the Wild Light. I don't believe there's anything that can stop you.
You know, it might be the first time we ever agree on anything.
I wouldn't count on it being a trend. She leans back in bed. You hear her footsteps coming back. Oh, I just started this, Calissa. I don't know what the hell I'm doing yet. You're a priest. Act like one. I have the utmost faith in your healers. You hear her say, she just kind of drolly says, Rainmar.
I need to, how aware are is there a way that I can summon Karak and Jonas without leaving the room? Like, for example, are the Flame Wolves or Monty sensitive enough to the temple?
Monty speaks enough common that you could actually... Yeah, Agrias, you had something?
Am I in this room?
No, you're over with Asperian.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'd like Monty to summon Karak and Brother Jonas.
Hey, Canadian Ancient Gamer, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, man. Okay, so he looks at you, and Monty kind of cocks her head, and when she kind of gets the gist of what you said, she runs off. I feel, as Norik walks in, kind of gives her a wide berth as she walks on, I feel bad for the way she's bringing him back. All right, I'm here. Looks down at her. My name's Norik. I'm going to take care of you. My name is Sister Aramina. Chosen of Zanye, Mistress of Perfection. You don't look so perfect right now, sweetheart. You'll forgive me, but he starts looking down at her. All right. He pulls out this book and starts flipping through it. Calissa is with him. He looks over at you, Rainmar. He goes, I don't know how much you can do here. If you want to stay, you can, but...
Take care of her.
I will. Agrias, you are with Alta Teresa. Or Asperian, I should say. What would you do next?
I'm headed straight to Alta Teresa because she said we need to speak.
Right. Okay, you head over to Alta Teresa's. And she's there. Just kind of, she's got something in her hands that she did not have previously when you left the room, or when you left her presence. She's got this very large, old book in her hands. The cover of it is a sheet of obsidian, the two covers of it. It looks like it's bound in the wings of some kind of a bat or something like that. The leather that's laced through there are strands of night, and every single one of the pages is a sheet of the night sky cut from its place to reveal day.
Wow.
At dawn.
Okay.
She's holding it, and she looks over at you. Agrias, I have a gift for you.
Okay.
She hands you the book. These are the spells that I learned when I was at your stage of development. The ones that you taught me then. You taught me how to cut pieces from the night sky at dawn to reveal dawn from dusk. They're carved there in starlight, every spell that I learned to that point. We have much to learn together. I will teach you the spells in this book, and so the circle will be complete.
I think that will help our fight against the gardener.
Okay. Indeed, she says. I do not know where he is. It is off-putting. But soon, I would assume soon, he will be here. And when that time comes, we must gird ourselves for war.
Are you able to step out of the darkness now, or no?
No, I have not changed. Only you have.
I understand.
She says, this place is suiting me well as far as that goes. The light in here, inconsistent and dark. The god that they worship is a god of the underworld. I can sense it. I can sense the darkness, the edges of his persona coming through in its character. So, it's actually pleasant to me. But I can't stay here, she says and nods. The tower is my home. But I will remain here long enough to teach you what you need to know. We have education to do. You need to learn new mysteries. Shadow will reveal itself to you. And the spells will follow. She nods. Rainmar, I'm going back to you. Where are you going to go after you leave the room? Monty comes back with the... Monty's coming back. You've passed her in the hall with the two monks. They're on their way.
I was just at the doorway. I mean, I was kind of...
You weren't going to go any farther than that? All right.
Well, I was just giving them room, and then after the brothers are there and reunited, I was going to go see Alta Teresa.
Yeah, they're all... You get the beginning of their reunion, which is... Monty did not convey to them why they were needed there. But when they see Aramina, they both run to the bed. Sister Aramina... peace, I barely have room to breathe. You end up leaving the room. And you said you're going over to Alta Teresa?
Yeah, I have two things that I need to cover with her.
Okay. You are arriving right as Agrias is receiving this spell book from Alta Teresa. And Alta Teresa kind of looks over at you, Rainmar, and sees that you're there. You're just in time, she says.
In time for what?
For your arrival. Well,
there's that.
She says. That was, you can tell, her idea of a joke because of her
Right.
weird perception of time.
I'm going to move to a little better lighting. Right
Yeah.
now I don't have.
It's okay. It's okay.
There we go.
There you go.
You flickered.
You flickered, right?
I really did, yeah.
Okay.
So
Hey, he's got pants on. That's all I care about.
totally. Yeah, totally. That's for when we go offline.
Yeah, the viewers are here for one thing, not the other.
Not two things. Yeah. Well, for I do totally.
He casts two shadows too. Anyway,
no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I have two questions for Alta Teresa. The first one is Alta Teresa. I've arranged in the process of caring for and reigniting the flame of this temple. I've arranged shadows and, in your honor, the prismatic chrysanthemum strategically around the temple to allow for.
she nods. Yes, you have done Agrias and I great honor, and for that you have my thanks.
My question for you is this, Mistress of Shadow. If I was to do the same thing in another location, would it work for ease of travel for you and Agrias?
It would, she says, but I question how you were able to make the chrysanthemums grow true here. Perhaps it would not be so easy in another location.
Understood. You're suggesting that I would have to do the gardening here and then carry them with us.
Perhaps, yes.
And is it equal parts the prismatic chrysanthemum and the harsh shadows created by the temple?
Yes, the conditions were perfect.
Okay.
I was able to use the chrysanthemums as a beacon.
Okay.
And the shadows allowed the transportation.
My second question is in regards to this temple itself. I have, with the aid of the brothers of Zanier and Norik, the Wildlight, I've begun construction of a forge in which I might ply the craft that you've shared with me. Is there anything specific that I need to do with the flame for the forge?
She nods. Yes. It is dangerous, but you have an advantage that few do. The flame that flickers in my forge is not conventional fire. It is black fire, she says.
Yeah.
The inverse, the negative material counterpart to flame.
Mm-hmm.
Such a flame burns within this temple. I can see it. I can see it in my mind's eye. Deep below us, I can sense it.
Okay.
Perhaps if you were to carry some bit of that to your forge, you would see it stoked as you wish it to be.
Understood. Would you accompany me to this flame so that I can identify it?
Of course I will. Besides, I want to see her for myself.
Very well. Now, this is one floor beneath where we are now?
Mm-hmm. Agrias, are you going to go with them?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to have the book under my left arm.
Okay. You have the book underneath your left arm. You're going with them.
I'm not going to open it until she directs me to.
Agrias, you're going with the whole crew through the winding their way through this temple. The temple is it's very clean. The marble has been polished again. There's an echo of your footsteps as you walk down the hallway, as you stride down the hallway. Alta Teresa moves almost like Asperian did, almost ghost-like, where she doesn't leave any kind of a trail behind her, no sound. No breath, anything like that. Such is her tie to the world of shadow. You're not quite there yet, Agrias. You know that one day you will be there, like she is, but not right now. but it's kind of strange to watch. Raymar, you're used to it, seeing Asperian walk. It's so very similar. But you go down the stairs and you go to the temple level, and the flames of the temple are all lit. They're all flickering, kind of casting these weird, strange oblong shadows everywhere in that second level of the temple. Please go ahead, Raymar.
I'm just confused about where we are. Did we go down the stairs?
Yeah, you went down the stairs
to the temple, and that's where Hermes' shrine and stuff is.
That's the 4-part shrine, or over there. So you go down there, and Alta Teresa, actually, when you're kind of slowing down looking for it, she continues to walk forward ahead, leading you further.
Okay.
And she stops right at the threshold of the stairway that goes down to the very, very bottom. And she looks at you, and she says, "You should go alone, Raymar."
There's a passageway?
She nods. She looks down at the stairs to the very bottom level, because remember, there's a level below that Temple of Hermes area.
Got it.
And she looks down and she says, "You should go alone, Raymar. If you wish, Agrias, you can accompany him. You are part of his destiny. You may act as his shadow if you wish."
What about Monty?
She looks down and she kind of pets Monty. She says, "I should remain with her."
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Rainbar, you go ahead and you go down the stairs and you wind your way down through the tunnel. You see all those alcoves where all the burials should have been conducted. Agrias, you're with him. And you go past that altar that was right there at the back of it. You've yet to see any strange black flame. What are you going to do? You going to continue all the way down to the end of the hallway?
Agrias, with your sort of affinity for shadow and your exposure to the plane of shadow, do you see any blackish flame? Can you sense any blackish flame?
Roll me a percentage dice, Agrias.
That is a 89, sir.
Yeah, it's below you.
It's directly below us.
Yeah.
Or below us.
Yeah. Rainmar, you had no idea that there was anything below you at all. This was the lowest level you've ever been on.
I'm currently on the level where the shrine to Hermes is.
That is correct.
Got it. Okay. So what we're looking for is a passage downward. Can I roll for secret doors and passages?
Yeah, Agrias, would you like to help?
Yeah, of course.
Roll me, both of you, a 6-sider.
Oh, 6-sider. Okay. 5.
Okay. What'd you get, Raymar?
5.
You're both looking for these. Agrias, because you kind of are knowing where to look, at the very back wall, at the end of the hallway, there is a hidden passage. A secret door.
Okay.
It has not been opened. Looking at it seems to you in centuries.
Okay, I look at Rangmar and kind of nod at his spear as I go to check for traps.
Okay. You don't see anything in the form of traps.
Am I still hidden in shadows?
You are hidden in shadows as best you can.
Jeez.
You dope.
Okay, I cast Magic Missile.
Okay. You cast Magic Muscle instead. These muscles come shooting out. Anyway. No, I meant like muscles like the water, you know.
Yeah, totally. That's because I've been worshiping Procan recently,
Yeah.
so
they stick. They're really disgusting as they hit the wall and just kind of slide down.
Totally.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, are you going to open this secret passage, or are you going to stare at it, or are you going to turn around?
I'm going to open it.
Okay, Agrias. It takes you a little bit of time to open it. You actually have to pry it open. But when you do, you open it up, you smell ancient air. You smell, it's very still, stale. The scent of this weird kind of flame is there that is kind of like, it smells insubstantial. Like it's not as much there as it should be. Agrias, you're definitely familiar with the feel of this unlight. Rainmar, as you look down the corridor, you see this purplish flickering light down there, like the deepest purple color imaginable. It's down the stairway, very narrow stairway. Who's leading the party as you go down?
We'll just go side by side. I think we can.
Okay. Agrias actually went ahead. And he just took. So you're going to catch up to him and go side by side, Rainmar? Okay, you guys go side by side together down the hallway.
I'm actually going to stand behind Rangmar because he has a shield.
Okay. Both of you being elves, down the hallway, you think you hear a whispering noise. For a second, it sounds like a little girl. And then it stops.
A little girl.
Yeah.
Can I pinpoint?
What are you going to do, guys?
Can I pinpoint where the whisper was?
Yeah, go ahead and make me a 20.
Okay. 18.
It's as easy for you as blind fighting. You close your eyes. Remember your old techniques back from the Abbey. Back from the Abbey.
Yeah.
And even though everything is echoing around a lot in here, you think it's maybe 200 feet further ahead and maybe a little bit to the left.
Okay, I'm going to reach out and try and have a conversation.
Okay.
Through the shadows.
Tell me what you're going to say.
I'm just going to ask, are you all right, little one?
You hear a voice that says, Daddy, I can hear them. He's speaking. Voice, another one. Be quiet. Don't respond. We don't know what they want. You continue down the stairway, the two of you. Rainmar, the way that Agrias is kind of looking off into the distance, or his eyes are closed as he goes down the corridor, you can tell that he's doing something with his abilities. It's hard to tell what exactly.
Do you sense something, my friend?
In the trance, I'm gonna softly put my hand on Rangmar's right shoulder and make it just loud enough for him to hear my blade being unsheathed.
Uh-huh.
And keep walking. I'm gonna...
Rainmar, what's your response to that?
I'm not gonna draw. I'm using my spear as a walking stick already.
Okay. But you got your shield up. You're using your spear more as a walking stick. It's not in.
No, I got my shield on my back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, Agrias.
I'm gonna stand side by side with Rangmar now.
Okay.
And continue asking the little girl if she's safe.
Who are you? Why have you come?
I'm looking for warmth from the flame.
Daddy, they're here for the flame.
Do I see the fire?
You see this purplish glow at the bottom of the stairs. You're nearing it now.
Okay.
I will speak with them. Agrias, Rainmar, as you near the bottom of the stairs, you see the silhouette come into view, kind of blocking the flame. It's kind of like it's limbing the silhouette. It looks under you. And it says aloud to you, Why have you come to the dead?
Well, I'm looking for a shadow flame.
Who sent you? And who are you that you speak our language so strangely? Agrias, by the way, when they're speaking now to you, they're speaking in a tongue you don't understand.
I am the champion of this temple and friend, boon companion of Hades himself.
And I whisper to Rangmar, I can't understand what they're saying to me.
I translate to... Well, you speak Elvish, I'm assuming. Yeah, I just translate to Elvish for him.
You come with weapons of war in hand. And
Oh,
you
this spear
speak
is
of peace.
This spear is little more than a walking stick, although it was given to me by Asperion.
And your stops. Asperion sent you. A pause.
I don't
What would
confirm.
Asperion have use with dusty old tomes and the dead?
It is an Asperion that studies it. It is me.
As you come down the stairway now, all the way into the light and enough to see what this is, the man that's standing there is a very tired-looking person. He's got a short, curly black hair. He's got a thick beard. He's wearing a toga. He looks up at you. Next to him is a very small child. He's got his hand on her shoulder. And he looks at the two of you and says, "Welcome to the kingdom of the dead."
Hail and well met. I'm Rainmar the Wildlight, and this is Agrias of the Tenebrous Hand.
He looks at you. "I only have one request of you," he says. "Do not speak aloud the name again of the Rich One. His eyes are probably upon us as we speak."
I certainly hope so.
He turns around and he says, "If it is true that you are a friend of the Rich One, then why is it that he would turn his back upon us and leave us to this existence?" The little girl is looking at the two of you like in awe more than anything. It's like right away you can tell that she hasn't seen another living person in hundreds of years. They just looks at you both like very quiet. You walk right past her. Old man leads you deeper into the area.
Do I need to roll percentile to... I'm just throwing this out there as an idea. Is it possible that Hades lost track of his dead when the plane shift happened?
Roll me a percentage die.
Yeah, you got it. I left my dice on the table.
Patrick, you can roll for him if you want.
Oops, that's a 20. Don't need that. 46.
Okay. Jeremy, it occurs to you that it is beyond the... Remember that the gods of the Greeks, of the Hellenes, just came to this plane.
Right.
They had no idea where their followers went. They had no power in this area whatsoever.
Yep.
So yeah, it stands to reason that he didn't send Hermes to collect their souls.
I am confident enough to tell him the Rich One will collect you soon. Your wait is almost over.
He laughs a bit. He looks up at you and says, "You wear the helm of the enemy."
Is it not wise to use your enemy's power?
Indeed, but I needed to know that from your lips. Come. He walks and see fire. He pushes through this door ahead of him. And when he says that, he opens the door. There's a 30-foot ceiling above you. All along in front of you is this long colonnade of stout marble black columns. The walls everywhere around you are lined with old dusty tomes. Welcome to the Athenaeum, he says. He looks back at you. I am Mitrikos. It was mine to guard the knowledge of our folk. This is my daughter. He puts his hand on her shoulder. She looks up at you. She goes, I'm Aminkios.
Well met, little one.
She looks over at you, just kind of smiles. Amikios, run and play.
Still speaking in ancient Greek, because I'm assuming that he doesn't speak common or...
Not even a word of it.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
The little girl kind of walks away a little bit into the shadows and disappears. By the way, at the end of the colonnade, you see this massive black fire rolling and crackling up and down.
Where does the smoke...
Agrias, you can definitely feel... You can feel the power of that black fire from here. That negative energy.
Where does this...
Where does smoke collect? Goes up to the ceiling, and because of its weird kind of properties, it just kind of disappears. Doesn't really collect here at all.
I kind of start giggling as I sheath my sword, and I look over at Rangmar and say, how did you not know this was here?
Well, I've been busy studying every other nook and cranny of this place.
He has, but there's also something else in play here, as will become apparent in a moment.
Yeah, which is that you and Alta Teresa are here now.
Right.
Yeah. What is within these tomes? What knowledge is secreted here?
We took what we could. The knowledge of metallurgy, architecture, plant lore, herbalism, healing, everything we thought that would help us in a new world where we knew nothing. Everything that we could. See how it helped us, he laughs a little bit, humorlessly.
Well, I believe it's about to help you now. That's why I think I've come to this place.
America, please, no. She turns around. Rainmar, Agrias, you turn around, the little girl is standing there, and she's got Agrias's belt pouch in her hand.
Clever.
I'm sorry. She says, you'll forgive my daughter. Centuries of time in this place among the dead. And of all the learning that we have surrounded ourselves with, she has chosen to teach herself parlor tricks.
Can I tell if they are in a similar situation that Atria, Demetrios, Asperion?
Absolutely.
So they're in kind of a stasis deal.
Mm-hmm. He looks over at you. He says, "You've come for fire. Take it."
I remove one of my torch handles from my kit,
mm-hmm.
and I light it in the black flame.
You start to walk up to this thing, and it's much like the other altars you've seen in there. It's a big black slab with the ram's head on it. There's a bowl there, and in the bowl, the flame is clicking. But what you do notice is these, the library here, as you walk down there, and you get close to the fire so you can see the walls a little bit better, the books only start from about 10 feet up to the rest of the ceiling, 30 feet high, okay? Below it, the 10 feet below, are these crypts. burial crypts. And as you get there, you light the flame, put it on there, and it sheds no heat whatsoever. Just licks and crackles there. It almost seems like it wants to reach out for your soul, like to catch you on fire and burn you with it.
Come and get
it.
It
never does.
And so the torch is now a black flame torch.
It is. It's a black fire torch at this point.
Yeah. Tell me, my friend, who is it that is interned here?
Those that came, those that died.
Yeah.
He says, we could not leave them just to rot and fester. They were all we had of the old world.
Have you an account of all those who passed away?
That's all that we are surrounded by is accounts. He turns around and walks over to the wall. Goes right to this book. Points at one of them. This book is the names of the dead.
May I?
If you are a friend of the rich one, it is yours to take what you wish, is it not?
Indeed.
He says, and he just kind of watches you grab the book, you take it out. Mm-hmm. It's a very old book. When it slides out, the dust that kind of pulls back from it just kind of lingers in the air a bit. The pages look almost like they're going to disintegrate at the merest touch.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient sheaves.
Yeah. I want to take the flame. Is there anything you can tell me about this level of the temple beyond the obvious?
No. You have reached the conclusion.
And why store the knowledge in these books?
Hey, thanks, Nat 30s. We appreciate it. Why? Go ahead again one more time. Why store the knowledge?
Why store the knowledge amidst the buried?
Because the dead remember all. He says, all knowledge comes to the rich one in the end, does it not?
Perhaps.
And we were loath to allow wisdom, art, in the hands of the enemy. Better to have it here in the hallowed spot.
As I'm looking at this collection of books, is it set up like a library or more like a museum?
More like a library.
Okay.
It seems to you that when they were alive, people would come here and they would write in these. There's desks in here as well, by the columns, and they would write and they would catalog that which they knew, their different roles in their society before their death. That was probably something that Demetros told them to do, is record your knowledge before you die, so that future generations can use it, because they expect it all to live forever.
So based on who I've met in this temple, is it safe to say that Atria was specifically caring for and protecting just what she had?
Right.
Demetrios was sort of the foreman of the temple.
Right.
Asperion was kind of the head warrior.
Yeah, but you've also kind of gleaned that Asperion was set before you to fulfill a certain part of your destiny.
And do I get... Okay, that's kind of where I'm headed, because I had the same feeling about Demetrios. So,
yeah, you kind of get that weird vibe here too.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
okay.
You get that weird vibe here too. But you don't really get it from the guy. You get it from the little girl.
Yeah.
It's like the helmet is kind of rebuking her quietly. Like you're just a stupid little child. You don't know anything.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to make my way. I look at both of them and I say, fear not, I shall return and speak to our friend Hades on your behalf.
He nods.
I make my way back to... Actually, I have a different question now. Out of character question. So in prior episodes, I had started collecting stone and such to build the forge.
Right.
Do I get the feeling that I could operate this as the forge instead of...
You do get the idea that you could do that. It would take just a little bit of rebuilding, but yeah, it could happen.
The other question
the air here,
was...
the ceiling is big enough here too that this might be one of the few places where the ventilation would work well enough. Hey, thanks, Nat30s. We appreciate that, man. That's nice of you to say. My
other attempt... See, I kind of had the idea that I was going to use the Shrine of Hephaestus as a sort of a starting point to forge these Tenebrous Hand.
It would make perfect sense to do that. Hey, thanks, Blue Box.
In that case, I'm going to do a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to do is take that torch back, and I'm going to set it in the torch sconce outside my room.
Okay. You start to leave.
Keep the flame burning, and
You hear when, after you leave, you hear, the last things you hear in that room are the old man say, he says, you can come out now, Amarina. They're gone. He says, as you leave.
There was another child. Okay. So I put the torch in the sconce outside my room, and I check on Sister Artemina.
Okay. You go over there and you put it in the sconce. Sister Artemina is laying there. The brothers are both sitting at the side of her bed. She's asleep. Brother Karak takes you outside and apprises you of her situation. He said that she's exhausted. She's famished. She's dying to stretch her legs, but she's otherwise all right. Or she seems so, at least.
Okay. When I look at her myself, is there anything I notice about her myself that hasn't been said to me by somebody else?
No. Agrias, since you've been following him this whole time, looking at her, giving her the once-over, she's remarkably well preserved for her ordeals. A lot of people would probably have been swallowed by shadow. You figure it's probably only because she worships a goddess of shadows that she survived.
I get the feeling that I have a couple things that I want to do here, so give me just a second because I want to lay a foundation for this.
Okay.
I've put the torch outside my room in the sconce.
You do that?
I'm going to go up to the Shrine of Hephaestus.
All right.
I'm going to lay my rose sword on the shrine symbolically.
Okay.
As a sign that I'm going to start forging this type of metal in this type of way with the shadow flame.
Okay. You do that, you lay it on there.
Yeah. The other thing is, so over the last 10 or 15 episodes, you notice that I've always got Rainmar duplicating his journals.
Right, exactly.
Making copies. One of those copies, which I didn't let on before, is for Alta Teresa.
Okay.
So I get the feeling, even though she hasn't said it to me and Agrias hasn't said it to me, that they're probably going to go back to the Citadel and do their little shadow bullshit, okay? And when they get on their little shadowling nonsense, I give her the book as a gift and say, this is all the knowledge I collected about it's one language about the temple, about the fighting methods and religion of Zanye, and about the Tenebrous Hand. It's basically all the knowledge I've acquired in my life up to this point, to include the information of the gods as is relevant to the temple. And
pauses.
I think you should have it.
Reaches down, doesn't say a word. Fiddles with the scroll case next to her, her blade, her sheath blade, and pulls it out and hands it to you. One thing for another, as sun creates shadow.
I accept it with thanks, and I tell her, I don't tell her, I'm telling you that my journal is written in Seldarine Elvish. The one for her is written in Seldarine.
Right. One of the few people that could actually read it fluently. Yeah.
Right, like one of 10 people on the planet that can actually read it. Yeah.
Right. She secrets the book under her arm and looks at Agrias. And she says, would you like to begin your education now?
I would.
Agrias, are you leaving?
She looks over at him and then looks over at you.
Are you going back to the Citadel?
We must, yes, my friend.
Know this. This is your home inasmuch as the Citadel of Shadows. And you owe me a round 2 rematch.
What's up, Blue Box? Thanks for showing up.
She
looks at you and says, my eyes will be set upon this place. If we are needed, we will be here.
Would it be possible to... This is a little out of... Is it possible for me to summon Rainmar or Agrias or Alta from the Citadel of Shadows? Like, could I call them?
You mean like hail us?
Yeah.
It's possible, but actually it would be... Kalissa and Trotty would have a better chance of that. Because being a mage.
How long can I keep open, Carlos, a conversation through the shadows? How long can I keep that open?
We're about to find out, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I give him a warrior's handshake. Forearm. Grasp.
Agrias, are you opening up that conversation with Rainmar?
Not right away, but after a day or two.
Okay. Agrias, Rainmar, and Rainmar, you see Agrias and Alta Teresa. She looks at him and she looks at him, kind of gives a little smile, looks over at you, Rainmar, and says, be well, my friend. We will see each other soon.
I give her a little kiss on the cheek.
And when you do that, you feel that cold, reverse negative flesh for a moment when you kiss her cheek. And then when you pull back, there's nothing there at all, except their shadows that are on the wall, the two of them, that slowly disappear into the light. Rainmar, make me a 20-sider.
17.
See, out there at Twitch, you guys had little idea what kind of entertainment level you guys were going to be having tonight. Rainmar, you're aware that something is watching you right now.
Can I tell if it's... can I tell its intent?
Curiosity.
What direction?
Right behind you.
I turn around and flip my spear up and point in the direction.
You do that, and right behind you, around the corner, you see two little girls' heads are there looking at you. And they're both kind of frozen, looking at the spear. They look a little bit scared.
Did I say you guys could play in the temple?
Well, the little girl looks to the other one, goes, We're not here to play, she says really quietly.
What are you here for?
Tell him. I'll get.
Monty.
You hear motion somewhere in the temple coming towards you.
Yeah.
The girls, one girl kind of clears her throat. She goes, Daddy never used to believe us when we would say that he would talk to us at night when we were by ourselves in bed. Daddy wouldn't believe us, but he did really talk to us. He said one day you'd be coming. And here you are.
Here I am.
And Daddy used to get so mad when we would read the books and say that we were wasting our time and being little fools. Sissy, there's something behind us. Shh, I'm talking. Well, the reason why we read the books is because we were supposed to. All of a sudden, Sissy, there's a wolf behind us. She looks over. Both of them jump and run into the room. Bonnie comes running into the room, eyes burning, staring.
Do I get the feeling that Monty can sense those little girls?
Oh, yeah.
Go make friends.
He walks up.
Make friends.
The little girl, one of them, the tiniest one of them, puts out her hand, trembling. Monty leans forward, eyes slit, and starts to lick her hand. He's friendly. He's a friendly wolf, Sissy. I see.
You know, I think she
goes low.
She might not be that friendly if you keep referring to her as a boy.
I told you it was a girl. You didn't say anything. One of them gets real low. It's time. Do it. They both get really low. They say, the keeper of the black flame of the wild light, she says, looking up at you. We're here to teach you. She holds up something and hands it to you.
What's it look like before I
It's hard to tell you. It's like a pool of shadows in her hand.
Okay, I accept it.
You look at it?
Yeah.
It's your change purse.
Well, that's clever.
We're here to teach you how to be a thief.
Where I come from, cleverness is rewarded, and I take out 2 gold coins and flip one each at them.
They both take it in their hands. Sissy, we can touch the coins. I know. They're touching them like they. You realize they have been insubstantial for hundreds of years. Touching them. And the one looks at the other one. He said the day would come, and now you're here. And that's why we were bad so long, is because we were supposed to learn until we were good enough that we could teach you.
Okay. So, when I need you, where do I look for you?
We'll be with Daddy down in the library. Or maybe wandering around where we're not supposed to be.
Do you know the fastest way back to the library?
Is the answer with your doggy chasing us?
Actually, I pick her up and I put her on Monty's back, and then I put them both on Monty's back.
Monty doesn't have any problem with it. Monty's just kind of like looking at him back and forth. They're like, they both look really excited. They're hanging on to Monty.
I'm pretty sure this is the fastest way back to the library.
They both look at each other. It's like one of them looks at the other one. Poseidon doesn't have anything to say about this horsey. The other one says.
Yeah, exactly.
Monty starts walking down the hallway with him, then starts to take off. And Rainmar, as they do, and you're left in the room by yourself, you realize that, yes, they are there to suit a new part of your destiny.
So what is the object that I took into my hand?
It's your coin purse.
Okay, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next question would be, what is it that Alta Jerissa gave me? Can I look at the scroll?
Yeah, you open up the scroll. You open up the scroll, and there is something written in Sildarine Elf on it. On Elven, I should say. Are you going to read it?
Yeah. What I mean.
Well, you never know.
Shadow explosive runes today.
I was just saying, I memorized explosive runes today. Could be anything.
How to flicker.
How to flicker. No, it's not that. That's only for very special boys and girls.
Yeah.
What you read is something that is written in a very long flowing script. It is it looks like a historical account of some kind.
Okay.
You go ahead and you're reading it. It is a tale. The tale begins... I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a tale of two dragons.
No. The tale begins in such a way that right away you can tell that this is not it's not fiction at all. It is like a kenning, sort of, right? And what it talks about is as follows. It says that at the beginning of time, when the Seldarine created the world, because they're the ones that actually created the world.
Of course.
There were one tribe split into many pieces.
Uh-oh.
When they split into many pieces, one of these pieces was a tribe of elves that called themselves the Araleth.
The Araleth, okay.
All right. The Araleth occupied the western part or the eastern part of Eric, the continent in which you're standing, and all was good. Everyone was happy. Everyone had plenty. But as the world became more and more degenerate and became more and more dark, these Araleth decided that they would quit the world of man. And what they did is they traveled on great boats far, far to the east. And they sailed for a place called Aquaria. All right? But a portion of them decided that trading one land of men for another was folly.
Okay.
And in the middle of the Solnar Ocean, they established a great civilization. A land that they called, they named it after themselves and called it Aralethi. All right.
Okay.
On Aralethi, by themselves, these elves were able to create a civilization by themselves. It was a beautiful place, a place of happiness, of joy. But they were summoners, these Aralethi. They created a great spell, and it's not really clear exactly how it happened. But they made contact with a race from beyond the ken of mortals. These people called themselves the Agathi.
Okay.
All right. The Agathi, they were as otherworldly to the elves as the elves were to the humans. Okay. They were people of grace and delight and elegance. They danced in the spaces between air, earth, and water. They skipped across mountain winds from place to place like a glorious, pristine bird. They spoke a language of magic, of ancient fables, duty, and honor. These were kindly folk. They were a folk that were interested in they had achieved great heights with their civilization, and all they wished to do was to take the elves and help them do the same. So the Aralethi took these elves, or these Agathi, and they made them advisors to them. And together, using the wisdom of the Agathi, they made the greatest civilization that the world has ever known.
Okay.
But in generations, the elves succumbed to hubris.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was such a great civilization, why the hell haven't we heard of it?
What they did was, and it's really not clear exactly quite what happened in this, but some great conflict happened between the Aralethi and this other faction, this other force, and
that they summoned.
No, somebody different outside of these people.
Oh, okay, a different force. Okay.
And the Agathi cautioned them to reach out to these people in peace, this conflict.
Okay.
The Aralethi prized their great civilization so much, and they had gained so much in terms of their civilization that they instead decided to ignore the words of the Agathi, and they made war with these people.
Okay.
What they did not understand about this other faction is this other faction was quite magically powerful. That they reached out to them in peace, and unfortunately, the Agathi they came back with war, and the Agathi did it because they were scared and they were arrogant. But many Agathi died in the conflict between these two folk because the Agathi thought they were going to roll them over, and it didn't happen. There was a bitter battle, and many elves died. Now, at the end of the battle, which the Aralethi ended up eventually winning, the king of the Aralethi had to answer for what happened. And what he did was, in front of his people, with the full knowledge of all of his advisors, told the elves that it was actually the Agathi who had advised them to go to war, because he couldn't be responsible for all those deaths. So they turned their back on the Agathi. And in doing so, though, they knew that how powerful the Agathi were. And they said that what they decided to do is they create a great curse to these people. And it's really not clear exactly what they cursed them with. But this account, which is written in Seldarine Elven, tells that what they didn't understand was that the Agathi, one of the reasons why they had reached the great heights they had, is because all of them were connected spiritually in this great kind of a hive existence. And so when one of them was cursed, all of them were cursed.
All of them were cursed. Okay.
So as they reached through this ethereal connection, they affected them like a disease of body and spirit. So according to these accounts, the Agathi were a doomed folk. They were no longer able to stride the space between the astral and the physical worlds. Their impossible grace and beauty were stripped away, replaced with hideous scales, spiked patches of greenish skin, like those of a sea dragon or a monster from the deep. Things that were loathsome. 4 fingers became 2, 4 toes became 2, and 4 fingers became 5, and once elegantly pointed ears became sharpened fins that stretched up from their back and from their position. They were no longer able to sail the ocean, the ocean of sky and back again, and their beautiful ships, sails made of scroll material of ancient vellum. They were no longer able to wield any of their magics. They were a cursed and doomed folk. So instead of becoming these beautiful creatures, they slunk into the Solnor, never to be seen again, as monsters.
So they're kind of like sea elves, kind of.
No, not really. They were monsters. They're more like sea monsters.
Oh, okay.
So what ended up happening was, even though the Aralethi, their problem had been solved, their enemies were dead, the Agathi were gone, their brothers and sisters in places like Eric and Aquaria, they never knew what happened. But somebody did. And that would be the Seldarine themselves. The gods saw the way that they had treated their allies.
Okay.
And they were horrified and appalled at the behavior of their children. So they struck them down in this cataclysm of unthinkable proportions, apparently. The glorious island that they had that was so epic in scope, it was drowned underneath the waves of the Solnor. It was destroyed and drowned forever.
Okay.
But the elves that were there, the Aralethi elves, they probably would have died in that moment, drowned as well. But there was a god among the Seldarine that pitied them. This god's name was Chasellus. He was a minor god at that point in time, a god of knowledge, minor god of knowledge and beauty.
Yeah.
And while the Aralethi, while Aralethi itself was descending into the Solnor to be drowned forever, he offered the elves one final chance at redemption, which they accepted.
Okay.
And so he cursed them similarly to the way that they were cursed. They cursed their brethren. Their bodies were twisted and transformed, making them like sea creatures themselves. With the transformation, he gave them a simple mandate. He said, as you gave your friends gills and scales, so these have been given to you. So shall you keep them until you can undo the horror that you have wrought. And this is the story of how Earth's aquatic elves came to be, and the deep shame that their race has. According to this document, this was the first treachery in the history of the world when the world was still a young place. This was the first betrayal.
Yeah.
And those are the last words on the document, is this was the first betrayal.
So, by percentage, do I need to roll? Can I tell? Was this document written by Seldarine? Was it written by the god?
Roll me a percentage dice. Roll me a percentage dice.
Fuck yeah, I will. I mean, I'll percentage the hell out of this. Don't cross me when I do percentage. 4.
Not only do you believe that this was written by the gods themselves, you think that this might have been written by Deep Chasellus himself. As a reminder and as a document of the shame of the aquatic elves. It disappeared probably from the lands of man because they have been seeking to hide their great racial shame since their transformation.
So the question would be, how the hell did Altafarissa come by it?
It's a good question. However, the idea crosses your mind that she was in an ancient elvish abbey, okay, that was dedicated to knowledge and secrets of elven history that dates from even before this. It's very, very possible that this was kept hidden there?
This is a precious artifact.
It truly is.
I mean, even without the knowledge of it, just the fact that it was penned by a...
Possibly a greater deity.
Yeah.
I mean, the XP on that must just be...
Jesus. Unfortunately, that's not fighter class XP, dude.
No, it is not. It is not.
I'm going to... Are we about ready to wrap? Are you wrapping up
We
the
are.
game?
Yes, I'm wrapping us up right now.
Okay, my last act in this game then for tonight's session is going to be...
Yeah, you might want to make that a little clearer. My last act in this game.
Yeah, my last act in this tonight is going to be to, as with a lot of things that I do, go to my desk and copy this letter into my journals. In Seldarine and also in Ancient Greek.
You are doing that. As you're copying it down, you kind of almost feel like you're writing something that is really, really dangerous. You have something in your hands that is extremely dangerous.
I know that.
The secret that you have is one that many would kill to keep hidden for various reasons, or kill to reveal.
Yeah. As I'm working at my desk, I want to work with Calissa.
Okay. Are you going to tell Calissa the secret?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So you're working at the desk.
Yep.
The last thing that we'll do for the night is this. When you sit down at the desk with Calissa, she sits there and you get ready to work with her. She kind of looks at you a little bit. She goes, Raymar, are you all right? You look like you've aged 1,000 years.
What makes you ask?
I don't know. It just seems like there's a great weight on your shoulders all of a sudden.
Well, there is. I know the secret of the first betrayal.
And that's where we're going to end for the night. Gentlemen, thank you so much for playing with us. And those of you guys who watched us and stayed after the raids, thank you so much. It's so gratifying to see. When we get raided by a bunch of people, you never know exactly, if people are going to stick around, if they like what you're doing or things like that. That we kept so many people is awesome to see. I saw so many of my friends out there. Mark Clover, man, I can't believe you're awake right now. Thanks so much for staying. Scottish Jeff, thanks. Corey, awesome to see you guys. And I saw some new faces in here. Blue Box, Nat 30s, it was great to see you too, man. So, and Belfred, thanks for following us, man. What you just saw just now is a very important episode of this adventure because this is sort of the crux, the hinge on which a lot of this campaign hinges, I guess is the best way to put it. You're seeing the title of it, The First Betrayal. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, actually, my co-creator in The First Betrayal, a lot of the lore for it. You're looking at him. It's Jeremy Brazil over there. Jeremy created a story a long time ago about this race of people called the Agathi. And I kind of adapted it a little bit, and I kind of went my own way with some of it. Because I thought it was really, really compelling what he did. And I thought of a way to tie it into the Elvish race. And we know so much about Dungeons & Dragons. All of us have played since first edition. And we know so much about the history of Greyhawk. I thought it would be a really cool campaign idea that what if there was a secret out there that was so dangerous it could shake the underpinnings of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
And that nobody really knew. And this was First Betrayal was kind of my outreach for that. So for those of you guys who've watched this episode that are in the game, I think I saw... good to see you out there, Lord Grendelwolf. Thank you. I think I saw Eclectic Hobbies out there, so thank you very much for watching us. So you see a very important part of the game as it'll unfold going forward. Patrick, we have a lot to do with your character going forward. We have to work out your spell list going forward. We have to see the way that your character is going to adjust and adapt. I wanted to give you this episode before we did anything because, number one, I didn't really have time to put together your character sheet yesterday, but more than that, you and I need time to figure out what we want to do with Agrias. He's got so many things that we can do with him at this point because he's essentially been reborn. So your character sheet will be crazy when we see him next. You've seen a little bit of the kind of stuff you're capable of doing now. And out in combat, you're going to be disgusting. So that's one thing. Rainmar, you're 5th level right now. You have told me in the past that you wanted to walk the path of the Bard.
I'm going to wait.
Right. You can do that.
To 7.
What I was going to let you... Yeah, exactly. You can wait to change as deep as you want, but it's there now. The opportunity for you to have trainers is there now.
Yeah, that was...
because the gods that are supporting you knew.
Yeah, they see my path, right?
They see your path and your destiny. Mostly because of Hecate.
I have to change by 7th, right?
You have to change by 7th.
And the advantage of getting to 7th is I get another weapon specialization.
Well, there's more than that. Not only do you get more weapon specialization, but your 2-hit bonus that you're able to use as a fighter will be
that's right.
different.
Yeah, sorry.
Because fighter goes up by every 2nd level. You gain better fighting ability.
Yeah.
By going to 7th level, and you're going to get another +2, I believe, to hit. So,
I'm going to tell you this. This is super funny, okay? When you were telling the story of the first betrayal, 2 things happened. The first thing that happened was I thought that the very first thing that came into my mind was that the document she gave me was the story of the Drow from the Sanguine Labyrinth.
Yeah, you thought it was going to be that. I could see that in your face.
And I'm going, oh shit, Raymar is going to have the knowledge of the Sanguine Labyrinth. Oh god, this is going to ruin everything. You know, it's going to ruin the campaign. I mean,
it would have ruined the campaign, which is why I didn't go in that direction.
No, but you started telling the story of the Agathi, and you were deep into the story before I realized that it was the Agathi.
This is what you wrote.
Yeah, I didn't even get it. You were actually reading from the document that I sent you. And
actually, no, I'm reading from my own adaptation of it. Of the document.
Regardless, some of it
I kept, though, yeah, word for word, because I wanted to laud what your work by actually using.
Yeah, the prose was familiar, but I always steal from your prose so much that it could have been yours. So I was sitting there and I'm going, okay, and then it started to come together toward the end. Oh, this is kind of familiar.
I wrote this shit. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
But yeah, that was definitely your concept. So I thought it would be cool. One of the things I like to do as a DM, I think is fun to do, is when I'm creating a campaign, I think to myself, okay, what would I like to play? What kind of campaign would I enjoy playing? Because maybe that way, when you roll it out there, other people will like it too. I kind of took a little bit of a different tack with that, because when you came up with that story, it allowed me to say, this is the kind of campaign he'd like to play.
Yeah, I think it was...
So I tapped into it.
What's interesting about that, dude, is that hasn't it been like a year and a half ago that I wrote that?
Oh, it's over a year and a half ago. That document is like 3 years old.
Yeah, so that would have been when you were writing, it was actually, that was pre-Castle Entertainment, so that was way back.
Just slightly pre-Castle Entertainment, yeah, but what it allowed me to do is I always had it floating around in the back of my head, and I thought to myself, you know what? This would be a cool hinge for my campaign for these guys in Patreon. And so that's what I did. And that's why I used it like that. So in a sense, you're kind of in a game of your own devising in a weird way.
I love the way that you brought the sea elves. And you told me that. I mean, you had talked to me about it years ago that you thought the sea elves would be cool.
Yeah.
I like the way that, because you've got a weird, like, sea elf Atlantean.
Mm-hmm.
thing going there. Yeah.
Okay, full disclosure, this is kind of the flow chart on how this happened. I remember at GaryCon several years ago, Mike Bridges, my dear friend, those of you guys have seen Greyhawk Mike on Lord of Samba's show know who he is, or go to his wonderful blog, Mortellin, the Mortellin's blog at, I can't even remember the title, greyhawkery.com. Mike once told me, he's like, you know what Greyhawk needs? I'm like, what, Mike? He goes, we don't have enough Seaborn adventures. And I thought to myself, well, okay, cool. This is long before I was doing Castle Entertainment stuff. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? Let's fill a niche and do a Seaborn adventure. Because if people out there are saying, hey, we need more Seaborn adventures, let's do one. Okay.
I remember that conversation because
you were there. Yeah, you were there actually when it was said.
Yeah, we talked about what you and Mike talked. I remember that.
Yeah, so Mike was talking about it, and I was like, okay, let's do this. And so then I had to kind of establish where I wanted to do. My good friend, and those of you guys who know Gary Holian, who wrote part of the Greyhawk, Living Greyhawk Gazetteer. Yes, I'm going to be a huge name dropper and say that. Gary once told me we were planning kind of an adventure. Think about what he would do. And I asked him what kind of character he would like to play. And he said, I would like to be a mountaineer from Radek. Those were the words he said. So I thought to myself, okay, well, I need to place this game that I'm writing for these guys, this aquatic game somewhere in the world. Well, I've done a lot of stuff in the Woolly Bay, so that's not going to work.
Yeah, totally.
Then that thing just filtered in my head. Okay, let's do Radek. So I put it up in Radek. Because that way I can also kind of link that into a Castle Entertainment project later that everybody pretty much knows about, but I'm not going to mention right now. And it would also give me a chance to talk about Aquaria a little bit and things like that that are important to me as a gamer and as a historian for Greyhawk. Yeah. So okay, I've got it in Radek right now. I've got the idea for an aquatic game in Greyhawk, and then I put your idea in there with the first Betrayal, and that's pretty much what you're looking at right now. Those three different influences led me to the creation of the campaign where we are right now.
Well, this is a weird trickle effect. So your conversation with Mike about Seaborn adventures was one of the inspirations for the Skeleton Key. So that's yet another.
It's so bizarre, and there's other things that fall into a play like this, right? Those of you guys who are into Greyhawk can kind of do the meta thing a little bit with the setting, like for example, some of the stuff that went behind the scenes and things like that. Know that Gary Gygax, one of the projects that he promised us in Dragon Magazine that he never got around to doing, was WG7, which was called Shadowlands at the time, which was all going to be about the Plane of Shadow.
Totally.
And he never got around to it for obvious reasons. TSR ended up getting whisked out from underneath him. But a lot of the concepts that he was going to employ in WG7 Shadowlands were released in his novel series, Gord the Rogue. A bunch of the stuff, if you look at Gord the Rogue, you can glean a lot of what he wanted to do with Shadowlands. Well, let's move over now to Patrick for a moment.
Totally.
Okay, now I've got this ancient elvish plot line going on. Patrick is kind enough to tell me that I would love to play an elf. Oh, thank heaven, somebody wants to play an elf. Great. So now I can make them the crux of this whole thing. So I said, Patrick, what if we play this ancient elven order? So I'm already sowing the seeds for you guys to have lore from ancient elves, and it makes sense in the game. But then Patrick starts doing different stuff with his magic, and right when he's doing that, the whole blow-up happened with Gail Gygax Carpenter and Gary's sons about some of the materials that Gary had unpublished. In particular, City of Wasp, Wasp's Nest, City of Stoink. There's supposedly the entire manuscript is out there for it, which was also promised in that same Dragon Magazine article and never got released. So my mind is percolating on City of Wasps and Shadowlands and things like that. And as Patrick's character is developing, that was the inspiration for me to bring in Patrick for that. Now, you're asking me a little bit about why that's relevant to First Betrayal and everything. Because I was able to take Patrick and make him wise beyond his years through the plane of shadow and through Alta Teresa and through all this crazy stuff that's happened. The access to lore and the access to stuff that is forbidden mysteries and things like that now makes total sense.
Right.
So Patrick's character was critical in my ability to kind of parlay that going forward. So that's a couple of the secrets, peeking behind the veil a little bit in Castle Entertainment about First Betrayal, about how the campaign actually came to be. Doesn't really reveal too many things I've got in mind going forward. There is one other thing I do want to mention. Again, pre-Castle Entertainment. Some of you guys out there know my good friend Dave Ryak, who is one of my absolute best friends in the world and certainly in our community. Dave is a monster creator in his own right, and we met on the Cannon Fire site through Great Chat that we used to have every Thursday. And one day I remember asking him, it was a conversation starter because it was quiet in the room, and I just wanted to say something to kind of get everybody talking. I said, Dave, what's your favorite magic item out there? And he responded with something that was really weird that I didn't expect at all. But you'll know right away how it fits into this one. I tell you his response. And his response was the apparatus of Qualish. And I was like, wow, that's a really weird one. And my first thought is, why would your favorite magic item be this great big crab-like submarine? Oh, I can use...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so Dave was very influential for me in this and how I ended up thinking about how this was going to be. It's just one of those things where all these little pieces and parts went into this big goulash and came out with a campaign that so far has become one of my favorites that I've ever run. So I'm going to let everybody go now out there in the audience. Now that I've given you guys a little peek behind the Castle Entertainment veil, I'm going to close it back up for a second.
Pass, dude.
A little backstage pass into how I tend to create and things like that. I like to... The long and the short of it is, everybody that's out there that's watching this, all of you are sources of inspiration for me. Gaetano was a huge, for example, Lord Grendelwolf that's out there. I'm doing stuff... I'm interested in parts of the Great Kingdom now that I never really thought about before, thanks to him. And I wrote my Zagig monthly reward for Patreon in Sundi, basically, because of Gaetano's influence. Every one of you guys, Orc Baby is a module that Corey Lundy is working on right now that I'm really excited for him to drop. That is where Noric came from. You know, it's all these little bits and pieces. All of you guys are important to me out there. We're all a big community, okay? And I love the fact that we're able to inspire each other. And I want you guys all remember out there before I sign off that I see what you guys are doing out there, and you're doing amazing stuff, and it helps me. It pushes me. It makes me a better writer. It makes me a better creator and DM. So I'm going to sign off for the evening, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. All of you, for Patrick James Hope over there, who played Agrias but did not get to play Hergranka tonight, and Jeremy Brazil, who played Raidmar the Wild Light. I'm Carlos A.S. Lysing, your DM for the First Betrayal campaign in Castle Entertainment. Please have a good evening and have a good week. We'll see you in 2 weeks.